Hello there, and welcome back.
What is this place?
Disconnected.
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 Disconnected. Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
I'm starting to feel disconnected.
You have reached a number that has been disconnected.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? Anything new these last couple weeks? Nothing special here. Yeah, we'll get into that in just a second. First off, though, welcome to Josh Hurtado. First time on the show. If you don't know Josh, essay writer, a film programmer, film enthusiast, an incredible writer over at Screen Anarchy. Thanks for doing this, man. This is like a long time coming. Appreciate you.
I'm very excited to be here. This is totally my jam, so I'm into it.
I'm glad. Yeah, tonight, speaking of jam, our discussion topic tonight is going to be rock and roll movies, so stay into the show after the announcements tonight. Last week, weirdest thing to happen to this channel in the last 5 years, YouTube officially canceled me for linking to somebody's store who happened to be peddling smut. The link that I put in there did not contain any nudity, but YouTube did not give a shit, and they took me off the air for a week. But to make up for it, we'll be live again tomorrow night with Craig from Deaf Crocodile to go over last week's announcements. We got to cover them at some point. So come hang out tomorrow night for a bonus show. And then if you're a Patreon supporter, on Saturday night, we're doing our live stream of a film. So yeah, we got a busy weekend over at the Disconnected World. Josh, what'd you do last Thursday? Anything special?
I did not watch Disconnected. So really, It's a wasted evening. Who knows what I did? It's in the vortex.
Well, to put you on the spot, you are somebody I live vicariously through, because I used to go to shows all the damn time, and you are a big supporter of live music. Who have you been seeing over the last year or so? What are some good shows you've gone to?
Let's see. Earlier this year, I went to go see Diana Ross. That was amazing.
Incredible.
Saw The Damned about a year ago this week. I saw Circle Jerks about 2 weeks ago,
Nice.
ahead of a screening of Repo Man.
Even better.
Yeah, any screening or show possible, I will attend. I'm getting older and
Yes.
tired, so it's tougher to get me out of the door these days. But I try real hard.
About 2 years ago, my wife took me to Coheed and Cambria, and it was, I don't know, third song of the set, and we had been standing there for 2.5 hours already, and I went, you know what? Those chairs look mighty nice.
Yeah.
After 2 surgeries on my foot, I cannot stand in a concert for 5 hours anymore like I used to.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is. Screen Anarchy. Tell everybody what Screen Anarchy is and what you do over there.
So Screen Anarchy is great. We've been around for over 20 years now. We were initially known as Twitch Film, starting in 2004. We've been Screen Anarchy for the last 8 years or so. We cover global film, so film festivals all over the world, theatrical releases all over the world, home video releases all over the world. We have been sort of at the forefront of a lot of the things that people are talking about now, in terms of international cinema, art house cinema. I was happy to join the team about 16 years ago in 2010, and I've been an editor for the last 10 years or so, covering just everything I can get my hands on. So a lot of what I cover these days is film festivals. So I do South by Southwest most years. I do Fantasia most years. We have people in Cannes right now. We'll have people in Toronto. We'll have people in Venice, all over the place. So
Nice.
If you're looking for what's happening, what's going to come to you in the next few months, we're going to be ahead of the curve in most cases.
Which festival that you go to is the one that curates closest to your taste usually?
If I'm covering, I would probably say Fantasia. I'm at Fantasia every summer. I am a school teacher by day, and so my time outside of home is limited. And Fantasia is a summer film festival, so that makes it perfect for me. And I really love those guys. They do great work. The programming team is awesome. I also work as a programmer at Beyond Fest, so I completely vouch for that team as well. They do some amazing stuff, not only with new films, but also repertory screenings. Their placement in Los Angeles gives them an edge as far as bringing in talent, some super big names. The association with the American Cinematheque is very helpful for bringing in just like dream screenings you would never even imagine could possibly happen. So those two events are probably my big events for the year. Although South by Southwest here in Texas also really, really great over the last few years as well.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go this year. Seemingly, I guess there was a lot of construction stuff that made everything a little weirder for people. So I'm almost glad that I didn't. But yeah, I need to go down there one of those years. I'm hoping to do fantastic this year. That's one of the big ones for me, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Beyond Fest, we got to talk about it. It's one of your big moments in life. RRR blew up in the U.S., and most of that is kind of credit to you, which is pretty wild. Tell us the story behind that, and then I definitely got some questions that will come after that one.
So with RRR, the filmmaker is an old associate, kind of acquaintance of mine. I first found SS Rajamouli back in about 2009 when I was digging through message boards trying to find, what's no one talking about that everyone should see. And so I had kind of fallen in love with Indian films after, renting a bunch through the Netflix mail service. And someone had mentioned seeing a film called Magadira, which is a Rajamouli film from 2009. So I rented it on Netflix and fell in love. I went then to see in the theater his film Iga in 2012 when it released, which is a revenge film about a person who was killed and is reincarnated as a fly. And I thought it was amazing. And I thought that it would be criminal if no one outside of the Indian diaspora ever saw it. So I found a way to program it at film festivals. I did a lot of digging and spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make that happen. And so Iga played at film festivals kind of around the world, at Fantastic Fest, where I was programming at the time, and kind of built a relationship with Rajamouli through that, because he had no connection to the film industry or the festival scene or anything like that outside of his part of India. And so when RRR came out, some people who had seen Iga at some of the screenings that I programmed started talking about it, because they went to see it in the theater because they knew that this name was important, that Rajamouli was important, and so they went and saw it. And so there was some chatter on Twitter, which was not awful at the time. It was less awful. And so what ended up happening was there were people talking about an Indian film that had never talked about Indian films before. And so the team at RRR got a hold of me saying, what's going on? What do we do? We don't know what to do with this. So I kind of jumped in and was like, well, we could show the film. Like, we could show the film to more people, because Indian films play in theaters all over the country every day. RRR was a great film, and it did its business in the diaspora sort of circuit, and then it seeded those screens to new diaspora films. But a lot of people who were hearing about it outside of the Indian diaspora didn't have a chance to see it in theaters, and so that's when I and my partner came in to re-release it to a more general audience. And things just kind of went from there. And then the Beyond Fest screening that we had in September was the first time that Rajamouli was in the States to attend a screening of the film, and it was just an absolute
massive
screening that no one could have anticipated.
I love that their response was like, oh wait, we're seeing success. What do we do?
Yeah, that was essentially the message that I got.
I mean, that is such an insight into like even the modern theatrical landscape. There's so
Mhm.
many of these places that kind of just shit out titles, and then if something works, they go, "Oh no, wait, we weren't counting on that. What do we do? What do we do? Everything's on fire." And the reality is, more people just want to see your movie. Please
Mhm.
show more people your movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very complicated release, because there were some factors involved. There was a Netflix release that happened sort of by surprise after we had already planned our theatrical re-release, that could have sort of derailed the whole thing, but ended
Yeah,
up working in our favor. Um, there was the fact that when we planned the whole thing, it was going to be a one night sort of special event screening, that we just kind of left the door open. So if theaters wanted to rebook, we would rebook with them, and then that just kept going, and it's kind of still going, at a slower but steady pace, with the film in theaters, because that's where you want to experience it, and that's what we saw with people who are seeing it on Netflix. Is they would watch it and say, "I want to see this with as many people as possible,"
yeah.
and so that's the possibility we presented to them.
I'm still upset because I've not been able to see RRR on the big screen. I was literally in Los Angeles when it was starting to show again, and around that time I was just too busy. It's a long movie, so it's kind of hard
Mhm.
to bake into a certain schedule. But since then, I have made it an absolute effort to catch some of these things in theaters, primarily because of your influence. It's something that you've
Oh.
got me excited about, and a big example. Last year, I had never been able to see either of the original cuts of the Bahabali. That's probably the wrong way to say it, but what they put out last year is known as the Epic, the new cut together like
Mhm.
4 hour 10-minute cut. Fucking incredible to see in a theater with. I gotta be honest, I think it was the only white dude in a theater full of Indians, and it was a
That's about right.
goddamn blast. It was amazing, sitting in the middle of Kansas, just chilling. Everybody
Mhm.
hanging out, everybody loud, everybody raucous. It was a damn good time.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's really nothing like seeing a big budget Indian blockbuster in an audience full of Indian film fans.
Yeah,
Like, even here, in the States, I live in Dallas. Dallas is one of the big hubs for Indian
that's my next
expats.
question. Yeah.
And so when I started watching Indian films about 20 years ago, I was watching them through Netflix, mailing DVDs to me. And it
Yeah.
took 2 or 3 years before I realized that, oh, well, I live in Dallas and there are theaters here that just play Indian movies. And so I would
Yeah.
go see them and be the only non-Indian there. Um, uh, and that's kind of still the case, that when I do go out and see, I'm the only non-Indian in the room, unless my wife is next to me. But it's like a concert. It's like a rock concert. It is. There's cheering, there's confetti, there's like, if you go to the right screening, if you know what you're doing and you know what you're looking
Yeah.
for, you can make that uh, you know, sometimes exorbitant ticket price worthwhile.
Obviously, when we are on the show discussing this, the question is always going to come up, and already got somebody saying I'm mad because there's no physical release. You explained this a little bit on a wonderful show called Supporting Characters with Bill Ackerman. Your episode has been one of my favorites from this revival
Wow.
season. Was a joy to listen to. What is going on with physical media from India? Because there are so many of these that people would love to have on 4K or Blu-ray. And RRR, the hard part is it would probably sell 100,000 copies in the first year on 4K in the US if they would put it out.
So my understanding, and this, I'm kind of on the other side of RRR now, so I'm not in the trenches right now, but
Right.
I was to get just talk to some of the folks when I was there uh, last November. I was over for a couple of days for an event for Rajamouli's new film, and what I understand is that the rights for Triple R are complicated in most territories. And so it's not that no one's asked, because lots of people have asked
Of
about
course.
releasing it. It's just that the the cost, or perhaps untangling all the particulars, are something that no one really wants to get into. Like there's a, as with many Indian films, there's a Japanese release, which I have. Uh, and the Japanese release has the original language audio and no English subtitles, but only Japanese subtitles. And all that stuff, as you know, is contractual. Like you cannot, like, subtitles are contractual, audio languages are contractual. What I learned when I was there was that even the combination of things can be contractual. There's lots of things that they can do to make sure that they protect the rights that a company has purchased for a particular territory. And for Triple R, it's just no one has figured out how to make it happen yet. I will say yet. Like, I don't know for sure, but I would love for that to happen. Like, I think we worked really hard to get the word out, and who knows if it will last forever on Netflix, and Netflix itself even isn't the original spoken language. So there's that, which some people may not necessarily even know, that when you watch it on Netflix, you're not watching it in the original language. So it's a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, language alone is a challenge. The territorial rights, the law side of things. The reality is the time just to research some of these things alone. Many of these labels, we just can't put the time and energy into it. You literally have too many other things going on, and it would truly be a full-time job for somebody to just deep research some of these things. It is wild what you find at some of the ends of these phone calls sometimes.
I mean, at this point, I'm on that sort of stuff. Like I'm friendly with the people involved, but I'm not actually like involved on the business end.
Right.
But seeing things like there's a French release of Ego that's coming, and of the Bahubali films that is coming through Carlotta. Bahubali's been released in Germany. RR still hasn't been released outside of Japan, but the fact that those avenues are opening up is encouraging. That maybe those rights can then be figured out for one of the English language territories.
It's true. Okay, so other than Indian cinema, what else do you love? What else are you into? What are you buying on physical media usually?
I'm into horror and weird genre most of the time. And so the crazier something is, the more likely I am to take a chance on it. Horror films are really one of my wheelhouses. Although every time I think about it, when someone tries to ask me to name my favorite films, a lot of them aren't horror films. They're just strange films that I just really love when someone does something I've never seen before. And horror is a good place for that. But there are for sure a lot of other films that are types of films that do the same thing: action films, science fiction, fantasy, all that kind of stuff. That's where I tend to spend my money if I need to. If someone took a chance on something that cost them money, I'll pony up a few bucks to support that.
Speaking of ponying up bucks, I bought quite a few releases over the last year that have your name on them. Spent to purchase certain releases that I probably wouldn't have unless you were a part of it. What would have been some of your favorite releases that you'd love to remind people that your name is on the back of from the last year?
Well, there are a couple that you can't get anymore. The Green Room release is out of print with the booklet. But one thing that I think kind of slipped by people is Decanalog's release of Huckle.
Yes.
From what was it, last January? It's been a while since that came out. The Georgie Palfi film with a couple of his early shorts. That was one that I was very excited to get involved with. There, from my understanding, is more to come. So look out for more Georgie Palfi. This month, actually, you've got from Chasm in the UK, you've got Taxidermia coming, the first Blu-ray release of Taxidermia. I don't think that's the end of the Palfi releases that are coming, hopefully soon. So those are fun. I was fortunate to get involved with a couple of Arrow's UK releases of Shutter titles. So The Sadness, I got a chance to contribute to, and Deadstream, I got a chance to contribute to. Arrow's been really a good place to work because they have some really good editors and people that I like to work with and who give me good feedback on releases like In the Mouth of Madness. That was a fun one. The Cell from last year, also really fun. Deep Blue Sea. All of those limited edition releases are things that I had a really great time working on and collaborating with the people at Arrow to help me, sort of make my writing better, which is always, always great. I love it when people can help me out with that sort of stuff. So those are some good things.
One thing I've noticed over the last, 18 months, a lot of the titles that you've written on have been some of the fastest sellers from some of these boutiques. That's got to feel pretty great.
I'll take full credit for that. It was my name on the back of the box that got those things out the door. So you're welcome, Arrow.
I watched Green Room again this week, kind of in prep for this because it is my favorite film that you've ever written on, and working on something else surrounding Green Room right now myself. And man, it's a great essay. It's a great release. Second Sight freaking crushed it. When do we get a second sight of Blue Ruin? Come on.
That would be great. Green Room was one of those things where I hadn't worked with Second Sight before, but I had a bunch of stuff in my collection already because they do great work.
Yep.
And so if anyone is a friend on social media, then half of my posts are about movies, the other half is about music.
Yep.
And a lot of the music stuff is like my love of punk music and the whole culture. And so they got in touch with me about Green Room because it's a punk film, and I saw it at Fantastic Fest when it premiered back in 2015, whatever it was, that it came out, and I was like, I can do something with this, and I was very happy to have been nominated for an award with you guys a couple of years ago, and that is to this day like probably the weirdest essay I've ever written, because I had the idea and I pitched the idea and they said okay, and then I was like, shit, now I have to write this thing. And I had to put together like this bizarre sort of essay on the parallels between the film and people actually trying to get out of the right-wing movements, which made sense in my head at first, and then I had to actually back it up, and backing it up is always tough. I think I did all right. Like I feel like that was a pretty good one. People seem to have reacted to it well.
It's a great essay. There's probably been 2 or 3 times where we've done the same thing, where we're like, let's pitch this essay as maybe a little too obscure so that they push back and give us either some framework that we might want or need, and they'll accept it. And you're like, oh God, fuck. Now we have to write this essay.
I'm in the middle of one of those right now. I pitched something that sounded really great, and like now the whole thing is in my head and I cannot get it onto the page to save my life, but I will do it. I will do it very soon. But that's a lot of the times the way it goes. Many people who do this that I talk to, writers, work best under pressure.
Yep.
And I unfortunately am one of those.
Well, we've been talking about physical media. If you got any, let's find out what you've been picking up. Any recent things that you want to show to the audience?
Too many, but I will try and get through them as quickly as possible, because I also thought of things that are thematically relevant to our discussion later on.
Ooh, nice.
So first of all, I've been waiting many years to do this, but I thought, I'm never going to get a better copy of this. So I picked up the DVD from the BFI of The Devils, the original British X-rated cut. Right, we're never going to get better than this. So
great timing.
Finally picked this up. It's got most of the film and a great documentary from Mark Kermode with only minor cuts from the BBFC and Warner Brothers. So, what are you going to do? You take what you can get.
It's a great DVD. Yeah, good
yeah.
choice. They'll never do anything with that.
No, it's fine. I also picked up Die My Love, which I have not seen, but I love Lynn Ramsey, so I wanted to give it a shot.
Good movie.
And Jennifer Lawrence is a fine actress, and so I'm into it. And Robert Pattinson also pretty good. So hopefully that's good.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
I picked up these two. This is kind of embarrassing because I picked up the Killer and Hard Boiled, the Arrow releases, which I will now need to get rid of the Shout Factory releases that I also purchased only mere months before. So hopefully these will pay a little bit of these. We'll see if I can offset the costs. Hopefully.
Shout thanks you for your money twice.
Jesus Christ.
Licensing.
I am fucking idiot. So I have those. I also picked up in one of my recent binges, The Devil Conspiracy.
Interesting.
Which is a okay. It's a Christian scare film, a big budget Christian scare film from a couple of years ago that almost no one saw, but it did play in theaters here, and I think it's on Hulu now. It's been on Hulu for a while, but it's ridiculous, and I love how ridiculous it is. And it never got a physical release here in the States, so I had to import it from Germany. Thank you, Diabolic DVD, for making this piece of shit available. It's awesome.
Not me currently looking up the title and who has the rights. Go ahead.
It's a lot of fun. I picked up, well, I had ordered 2 of these. Thankfully, one of them got canceled. So I have the Radiance release of Matador.
Nice.
The first, well, someone on your page corrected me. It's not the actual first Almodovar 4K release, but it is pretty close. The first individual Almodovar 4K release.
First, that's not locked in a $150 release. Yes.
Right. So I only had to import it for a slightly less than that. So thank you, Radiance, for that. Annie Almodovar is fantastic. I have a couple of these newish Jean Rollin releases from Indicator. I'm following up on all of these. Every single one of them is great. These are not my favorites. I do prefer his earlier 70s work, the artsy fartsier stuff, but can't hate on Living Dead Girl and Grapes of Death. So I'll hold on to those. Good stuff. Once they start getting into the weird porno stuff, I might slow down, but if we're here, this is a good place to be. I picked up We Bury the Dead, Australian zombie movie from a couple of years ago, which I saw at South by Southwest last year and thought was really good. I'm also quoted right there at the top. So
Nice.
I have this thing where I have a weakness to purchase things with my quotes on them. Sometimes I ask, usually they say no. This one I just bought because it was cheap. But it's a good movie.
I need to see it still. I mean, the premise sounds fun. Daisy Ridley looks good in it. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Save the Green Planet, which, a wonderful, wonderful film. Jumped from DVD straight to 4K. Can't hate on that. Produced by my good friend Pierce Conran in South Korea, who is like the expert on South Korean film, and who has a few more of these South Korean releases in the works. I know because I worked on at least 2 of them. So look out for more South Korean releases coming from Arrow in the next God knows how many months. I've mentioned this before, but sometimes when you write for a company or you produce something for a company and you send it in, it just kind of goes in, and then you're as unaware of when it's going to be announced as anyone else. So I have half a dozen things in the pipeline right now that I have no idea when they're going to be announced, but more Korean stuff will be announced.
Excellent.
This I didn't realize was on Blu-ray. This is Red, White, and Blue, Simon Rumley's Red, White, and Blue, which was released by IFC Midnight on DVD years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Really, really rough film, hard to watch, but tremendously impactful. So if you have the opportunity, Red, White, and Blue, and if you have the Constitution, really, really great film. Rape Revenge, just awful, brutal film. Love it. So that's one that I really enjoy. Controversial, but I love the new Anaconda film. We had a great time with it, enough that I spent more than I should have on a steelbook. I really, really like Anaconda.
I need to see it still.
It's really stupid, but deliberately so. And so if you like stupid, you might like this. I mean, it's Paul Rudd and Jack Black stupid, which is my kind of stupid.
It's a good cast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. The most recent things that I picked up are Conquest, the new Cauldron Films release of Conquest. Greasy Vaseline lens 4K release. So very excited to finally take that out. You can see most of these are still in the plastic because I'm researching something now, so I can't watch anything fun or new. But this just came in. And
Crazy.
As far as video releases, we just picked up Cold Storage. I have friends who enjoyed Cold Storage, and so I decided to give them a shot. It's fun. We watched it the night. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but people explode. I'm good. That's what I needed. So it was a good time pass film there. So this is the video portion of my pickups. I figured since we're doing rock and roll movies tonight, I'd go and expose myself for the glutton that I am and talk about some of my physical releases on LP, which is a new and unfortunate collection that I've begun in the last year. I told myself for years that I would not start a vinyl collection because I don't need more shit. I have 9,000 DVDs in my house that are all in piles, and it's terrible, and I cannot manage it. But then a band from my youth, who I took a lot of photos for, some of which ended up in releases, re-released their stuff on vinyl, and so I picked them up just out of wanting to have a physical record of the work that I did.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted to listen to them, so I bought a turntable, and then it was all over.
Yeah, you're screwed.
So yeah, I'm fucked. So I bought recently. There are a couple of these. This is Riverboat Gamblers, Underneath the Owl, a Denton / Austin punk rock band that I really, really love. Out of print, but not super expensive, so that was good. The new Devo record, the new first Devo record, Are We Not Men? We Are Devo, in the fanciest possible Rhino release, which is the best sounding version of this ridiculous record, which does actually sound really good. So I'm happy I spent extra money on that. I have been served, thanks to Instagram, ads for a few Bollywood records, one of which was the soundtrack to B. Subhash's Disco Dancer. This is an absolute banger of a record, sampled by everyone you've probably ever heard of. One of the songs shows up in Don't Mess with the Zohan, the Adam Sandler movie. Amazing. This is definitely a record that I will play over and over again. The latest Manic Hispanic record, who is a Latino, Los Angeles-based band who records covers of mostly punk classics with Latino bents to them. I have a Manic Hispanic tattoo. I've seen them multiple times. They are one of my favorite bands, and this is their new record. It's fine. Their older records are better, but I have it now, so it's whatever. The Cramps, probably my second favorite band of all time after the Ramones. I have a bunch of Cramps records, but what's nice about this one is that it is the first time in 12 years that a record has been released under their original record label, Vengeance Records, which actually the profits funnel back to Poison Ivy, which has not happened for a long time. There have been other re-releases from other companies, but they have not gotten back to her. And so this is one of my favorite records, and I wanted to make sure that she saw a few pennies from me, and this is how I did it. So Stay Sick right now and Big Beat from Badsville are available. More coming later in the year. And then also this is the Draculas, which is another band from the singer of Remote Gamblers, which I mentioned earlier. This just came out last week. Sort of, they say it's music for robots. It's sort of a new wavy band. If you look up Draculas, this is called Midnight City. Very good record. Highly recommend.
Nice. Excellent. I'm gonna have to listen to them. At some point, we probably should have talked about your love for trashy Hallmark films. That
We'll
is
never stop.
that is one of my favorite things to read. That and just to commiserate on neighborhood traditions, all your next door posts. I happen to manage the Facebook group for my city that I live in with my wife, and Jesus Christ, there are insane people in the world, aren't there?
You know what's crazy is that, you know, when you see people like that on Twitter or on Facebook, you can always imagine they're like some weird person living in a cave somewhere. But when it's next door, you're like, no, this person lives a few houses down from me, and they are racist as hell. Like it's shocking. Never not shocking to me.
It's appalling.
Yeah.
All right. I got a few things in, and I'll cover a few more tomorrow. But these, I didn't want to inundate Craig tomorrow night with too many things that I worked on. So first, the TerraVision release of Patchwork is finally out. This was announced last, I think, August. Just got this in. I got Katie of the Night from YouTube to write in the booklet on this, and it's a really great essay. Check that out.
I have that one too.
Nice. You Held Up Conquest. With it is Jack the Ripper, the Jess Franco joint, and this is the first audio commentary that Dr. Will Dotson and myself ever recorded. And just like you were talking about, we submitted that way back June of 2023, I think. And at some point, it was supposed to be announced in 2023, and we went back to Cauldron, and they said, "Oh, we think we might be able to do 4K." And now, years later, here it finally is, after sitting on it for so long. And then I did not expect this so fast, but we just got in the After Dark Neo-Noir Cinema #4 from Imprint, and this has a couple things that we worked on in here. Mulholland Falls is a movie that is very interesting. The Blu-ray release that has got a release here in the States kind of sucks because Sandpiper did it, and this is a much better release of it. And then we didn't work on this one, but I'm just excited. Kristen Stewart put out The Chronology of Water. BFI just released this. Very eager to see this. Just got this in, still sealed. It is a really interesting journey to watch her go from Twilight to all of this other just incredible films that she's done. Same with Robert Pattinson that you brought up. But watching movies, anything you've been watching recently that you want to share with everybody?
I mean, I can't. The last movies that I talked about, or that I've watched that I can share, are from South by Southwest, which is 2 months ago now, because I've just been deep in research for a thing that I can't talk about yet. So if you haven't seen Hokum yet, I really like Hokum. Over
movie.
Your Dead Body, I really enjoyed. Saw those at South by Southwest. It's my theater view. I don't think I've been to a theater since I got home from South by Southwest.
Ouch.
Honestly, just because I don't have the time.
Same.
And I've sort of soured on my local Alamo Drafthouse for reasons that I'm sure that anyone who's followed Alamo Drafthouse can understand. And I don't trust a lot of theaters that aren't Alamo Drafthouses around here. So I keep saying I'm going to go out, and I don't. And then I do the programming stuff, which I can't talk about because, you know, no one should know those movies exist yet. So
yeah,
not a lot of stuff that's new. It's a lot of comfort watches, if anything. You know, rewatching Eurovision for the 17th time or whatever.
Nothing wrong with that. I totally get that. I after seeing so many movies in the theater last year, it's been a bit of a depressing year for theater watches for me. But most of them have been pretty great, so that's been nice. At least they've not been a lot of bad movies. Last year was pretty low average on a lot of the movies I saw in theaters. But I did want to say, since it was for a podcast and all that stuff, the Discord last month, on our watch along, we watched Breathless, the Jean-Luc Godard film Breathless. It was the first Godard film I'd ever seen, and good God, did I hate that movie. Go ahead.
No, I do not have a positive relationship with French New Wave. It doesn't hit the spots I needed to hit
No.
for me.
I don't think I was just stupid about it. I just don't understand the appeal here. I mean, obviously he was made to edit it a certain way. That doesn't make it good. That doesn't make it necessarily innovative. It just makes it hard to watch.
Well, here's the thing for me is that I've seen a couple because I feel like I'm trying to do my due diligence as a
That's what I
film
want to do.
fan,
Yeah.
and watch the things that people say are important and that I need to watch. And so I do. And then I get disillusioned with certain things. The problem is that means that there's probably something hiding, like Clio 5 to 7, who someone just mentioned, that I would probably love, but I'm hesitant to make that dive again.
Yeah.
Because there are another 1,000 films that I would probably enjoy more, and
Right.
so I kind of go for the easy stuff sometimes. If we're going back to sort of Silver Age films from the 50s and 60s, I'm much more likely to lean towards Italian neorealism than I would be French New Wave. Like those films I know I like, and so I'll take a chance on those. French New Wave, I have not found the one that works for me. I would love to, I want to love stuff. I think that's one of the things that people often mistake about critics is that you go into a film, with an axe to grind, and no one wants to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time watching a movie. I could do a lot of things other than watch movies. I want to go in and have a good time. It's just that hasn't happened yet with French New Wave, and I hope someone someday forces me to watch something that I really love.
I exactly the same thoughts. Basically, I've not seen many. Admittedly, it's just a lot of it has not appealed to me. And even Breathless has been hailed as this big thing, and this was not about expectations. Believe me, I wanted to go in as a true cinephile and love it. And the first handful of minutes was pretty great. And then I realized the whole movie is just somebody begging for women to sleep with him, and he's an asshole the whole movie. Like, there's nothing relatable. There's nothing fun. It wasn't particularly well shot. It's basically just a bunch of terrible people arguing. And at that point, okay, he died. So what? Like, were we meant to care about him? I don't know. Not to limit it to this very minimal thing necessarily, but yeah, even like the quote writing, which wasn't, as you find out later, if you learn about it, wasn't even really writing. It was mostly a lot of them just kind of figuring it out as they went along. It's not even good. So yeah. Anyways, I don't need to complain about it all night. But the big thing, watched Green Room again, like I mentioned, and that better movie, much better writing, has an actual story, better shot. Green Room was fucking amazing, isn't it?
It is quite good. It is quite good. R.I.P. Anton Yelchin.
Indeed.
But the one thing that I really dislike about that movie is Imogen Poots's hair. It's the worst Chelsea I've ever seen in my life. Apart from that, very few complaints.
I agree. We got a lot of announcements to cover tonight, and then we got a discussion on rock and roll movies, which is going to be a blast. We are probably going to be here a while. Just a fair warning to everybody, because we got a bit to cover. But like I said
my
earlier,
diaper on.
Sweet. And I've got another water so I can film mine. All of the stuff from last week we are going to cover tomorrow night with Craig, so it's going to feel weird starting in the middle, but we will give that its fair shake. I didn't want to keep Josh here for like 7 hours just on announcements, so we're going to break into it, starting with the big one that we got last week after finally waiting this for a long time for a movie I've never seen. I don't know why I'm saying finally. Hunter's Blood is finally available on 4K and Blu-ray with 2 different cover options from Redshirt Pictures and Synapse. This is from 1986. I got to ask, are you an expert on this one? Have you seen this one before?
I have not. I saw it announced and I was like, okay, cool. It's probably fine. That's about what I've got on Hunter's Blood. I generally trust the judgment of Red Shirt and Synapse. I trust it about enough to get a standard edition in a few months.
Well,
for this one. For this one.
In classic Synapse fashion, they're answering people in the Facebook comments. There are no standard editions planned, but we might revisit that down the line. Of course, they're putting out a standard. Just give it time. This is quite expensive. Something $60, $65, something like that. I don't remember at the moment. But yeah, you probably don't need a $70+ after shipping edition of Hunter's Blood, unless it's one of your favorite films. If you love this movie, by all means, I support you. Go after it. This looks like a beautiful edition. 2 wonderful pieces of cover art. Love the art on both of these. I could see them fitting a movie, maybe. I've not seen the film, so I don't know for sure. But this, from everything I'm reading, is basically a riff on Deliverance, which if you've seen Deliverance, you know what that is likely going to get you. And what they say about this is that it is a like more grindhouse version of Deliverance, which holy shit. Just saying that sentence feels a little dirty to say. This is a region-free 2-disc set with a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc, and they are going to have 2 copies, like I said, both of them limited to 2,500 units. 2 great artists. We got Sean Longmore on one and Graham Humphreys on the other. This is a restoration that is from the original camera negative. We got HDR10 and Dolby Vision on the disc as well. Audio commentary with the producer, moderated by Michael Felsher. Audio commentary with Amanda Reyes and J.A. Kurzweil. Shout out Amanda, who's great. There is a making of on this with interviews with a bunch of people related to the film. Audio interview with the actor Bruce Glover, conducted by Mike Malloy way back in 2006. And then a handful of the usuals, trailers, and all that fun stuff. And then a booklet with some notes by Michael Gingold, poster, collector's cards, all that fun stuff. We're going to hear those words a lot tonight, Josh. How do you feel about all the tchotchkes and these limited releases?
I don't dislike them for films that I really, really enjoy.
Same.
The art cards I don't do a whole lot with, but the essays and the extra stuff, like that stuff I like. Booklets, the perfect bound books, all that kind of stuff I enjoy. Everything else just kind of stays in the box for me.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it, but it's for someone, so good for them.
It absolutely is, even if that someone is the director of Hunter's Blood.
Yeah.
Next up, Kino Lorber is putting out a Blu-ray of IQ from 1994. That one movie where Walter Matthau plays Albert Einstein, and that is only like the 3rd weirdest sentence I'm going to say tonight. Have you seen this movie with Tim Robbins?
I don't think I have. I remember seeing it advertised when I was a kid. This would have come out when I was a freshman in high school. Meg Ryan and Tim Robbins, okay, like a couple of rom-com pros there. It's a ridiculous premise. It's slightly less ridiculous than Young Einstein. Where's Young Einstein on Blu-ray? That's what I want to know.
Agreed. I did see this way back in the day. If I remember it, I think this was a mainstay on TBS for like a year or something, and then they lost some sort of rights or something.
R.I.P. Ted Turner. It's all Turner's at the heart of everything.
Rip all billionaires. Yes, that is true.
Yes.
So the story of IQ is Albert Einstein helps a young man who's in love with Einstein's niece to catch her attention by pretending temporarily to be a great physicist. And I don't remember much about this. All I remember is that I had the weirdest, like my favorite actor in the world when I was a kid, and that was Tim Robbins. I was a big fan of like 5 movies, and that was it. He's great. I wish Tim Robbins did more throughout his career, but he's taken some time off, it feels like.
You know what? If I was married to Susan Sarandon, I'd stay home too.
I mean,
Just saying.
No complaints. That is true. Warner Archive kind of announced all the movies this month. A very crazy month for them. We have like 10 announcements to cover. All of these coming out on June 30th, all of them on Blu-ray, no 4K at the moment. But one that people have been asking about for a long time, Pretty Maids All in a Row from 1971. This gets a big thumbs up from you. Tell us about this movie.
Oh, it's so incredible. It does. If you want to talk about French filmmakers doing things right, Roger Vadim is one of them. This is just an absolutely brilliant film. So if you're a fan of something like Valley of the Dolls from the 60s, this is in the same vibe of that film. I love Pretty Maids All in a Row. I haven't seen it in years because it's been sitting on that DVD they put out when Warner Archive kind of started years and years ago. It was one of the early years releases they did.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I'm so excited to see this one on Blu-ray now.
1971, 4K scan from the OCN on this movie, and to have nothing but that old, and I think that was even a DVD-R, if I'm remembering right. It wasn't even a
At the
great
time,
disc.
yeah.
And now to have this upgraded to a beautiful Warner Archive Blu-ray is going to be a massive, massive uptick. Yeah, this feels kind of like a must. I've not seen this one, but it will be mine. Another one that will be mine. I am a big fan of the Hanna-Barbera animation, and they are putting out the Dastardly and Muttley in Their Flying Machines complete series from 1969 and 70. How do you feel about animation, Josh?
I love these. There was a time, again, probably about 15 years ago, when Big Lots had like these huge physical media, huge DVD sections, and one of the things that they had were a bunch of these Warner Brothers cartoon sets.
Mm-hmm.
And Dastardly and Muttley was one of them. They had a bunch of these, and so I picked up every single one that they had because they were all complete sets for like $3 or something ridiculous like that. And Dastardly and Muttley, when I was a kid, I would watch these on the USA Network in the morning before I would go to school. I love these cartoons, so yeah, definitely into this.
This is a full 2-disc set. You have so great, almost 6 hours of show on here, which is wild. Special features wise, they got the Vulture Squadron's Greatest Misses, Dastardly and Muttley spin-offs, What Wacky Races Rot, commentaries on 2 episodes from animation veterans. Kind of everything that I'd want on something like this. This is pretty great. Cannot wait to see this and be reminded of things that I saw 84 times between the ages of 4 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo from 1944. We've got Spencer Tracy in this one. This is going to be a Blu-ray release again. This is going to have classic Tom and Jerry cartoon Mouse Trouble, classic MGM shorts Ode to Victory and A Lady Fights Back, an original theatrical trailer. This is a 4K scan of the best preservation elements. You a Spencer Tracy fan? Any thoughts on this one?
I do like Spencer Tracy. I have not seen this one, but Spencer Tracy, and I see Van Johnson on the credits list as well. Like, I'm into it. All of these sort of World War II, not quite propaganda, but definitely like spirit elevating films are cool with me. So I don't know if I'll pick this up anytime soon, but I would like to see it for sure.
Spirit elevating is a great way to say that. Somebody asked about those before, and I said, well, it wasn't quite like paid for by the government, but it was like mildly oorah.
Yeah, for sure.
Gene Wilder, Donald Sutherland together in Start the Revolution Without Me from 1970 is coming to Blu-ray. This one has the classic WB cartoons, the Scarlet Pumpernickel and Napoleon Bonaparte, and the original trailer. I've never seen this, but this is a hell of a pair up for a film, so I feel like I have to.
Yeah, same. In all regards, I have not seen it, but Gene Wilder and Donald Sutherland, I can't see how it's bad.
This is also a wonderful, wonderful poster. The likenesses done here are incredible, and just reminds me how much I have really started to hate every single person on my friends list on Facebook sharing AI. Next up from Warner Archive, Come Live With Me from 1941 with James Stewart and Hedy Lamarr. This one has classic MGM shorts, America Preferred, and From the Four Corners, an MGM cartoon, Officer Pooch. And this one says, beautiful Austrian political refugee Johnny Jones is about to be deported. This isn't propaganda at all. Leaving the loving arms of a married Manhattan publisher for the waiting arms of the Nazis. The solution, instant citizenship via a marriage of convenience with flat broke writer Bill Smith, who's played by James Stewart, in which the only thing they'll share is the same last name. Any thoughts on this one, sir?
I mean, I love Jimmy Stewart. I'm honestly more interested in the shorts and the animation involved or attached to the release than the actual film. But, probably fine.
Also, just kind of incredible that from 1941, we are still actively seeing 4K scans of the original nitrate negatives. That is wild from a big studio, and I really hope that the actions behind the scenes of the next 18 months do not take Warner Archive away from us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they just
Night-
they just opened a new website, right? So hopefully that's a good sign for what the future of
yeah.
Warner Archive is.
A relaunching of sorts, we hope. Night and Day from 1946. This one with Cary Grant and Alexis Smith. This is, I love this word. They start with swelligant and elegant, deluxe and de-lovely. Cole Porter was the most sophisticated name in 20th century songwriting, and to play him in this highly fictionalized biopic, Warner Brothers chose Cary Grant. This one, classic Warner Brothers shorts, musical Movieland, and Desi Arnaz and his orchestra. Classic Warner Brothers cartoons, The Big Snooze, and the trailer. And again, 4K scans of the original Nitrate Technicolor negatives. Kind of wild. Not really my thing, but I'd still like to see it at least once.
Yeah, I mean, Cary Grant, not necessarily known for his singing or dancing, but one of the best-looking men ever to appear on film. So, I mean, couldn't hurt. I'll give it a shot. Again, the shorts and everything else is probably what will draw me more to something like this.
Especially Desi Arnaz. That's a cool one to get thrown on here. That's great. Some more big names, though. Strange Cargo from 1940 with Clark Gable and Joan Crawford. This one will have an archival featurette called Gable and Crawford, an MGM cartoon, Home on the Range, MGM Our Gang short, Going Fishing, and then the trailer and 4K scans of the best preservation elements. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And then wanted to shout out Peter Lorre, too. Another Peter Lorre film, always a good thing.
And Frank Borzage production, it looks like there as well. And, early Joan Crawford when she was still a babe and not like a crazy monster and, whatever happened to Baby Jane. So good stuff.
Exploitation.
Yeah.
1936. We're just getting older and older here. We've got Rosemarie with Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy. This is going to have a MGM short, Hollywood, the second step MGM cartoon, Little Cheeser, and then all kinds of stuff that, again, applause always to Warner Archive for finding things like audio-only radio shows, Screen Guild Players Rosemarie from June of 1947, The Electric Hour at the Nelson Eddy Show from 1945, The Electric Hour, The Nelson Eddy Show, full broadcast from 1940. Like, what are we doing? This is amazing. I love when places like the BFI, Warner Archive, Hammer, some of these companies that they've got access to these archives and they just throw it all in. I love that.
Big hands, to all of the archivists out there doing the hard work, because there's got to be a salt mine somewhere full of just all this stuff that there's one guy or one girl who knows exactly where all this stuff is. And that's a job that I hope still exists, in the years to come.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Josh hoping for salt mines. Next up, one that we've been hearing a lot about this year, and one that you may have heard about years ago, because this has been long rumored, long hoped for, and we are finally getting a Blu-ray release of 1932's Letty Linton with Joan Crawford, the even earlier Joan Crawford film. This one is kind of got a crazy story. Legally, it was wrapped up in a way where it could not be shown in any format for literally decades. And after a bunch of finagling and people passing away and public domain and fighting lawyers and blah, 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 it finally premiered at the TCM Festival just a couple weeks ago at this point. And now you've got a brand new Blu-ray from, Jesus, so long ago. We are looking at this point 94 years old, and this has a 4K scan of the best preservation elements. We got a feature-length documentary, Irving Thalberg, Prince of Hollywood, audio-only Joan Crawford radio appearances. This is really cool that it's finally coming out there. Love me some old Joan Crawford. Any thoughts?
Your thoughts are my thoughts, so I'm into it.
Sivner saying that Robert Montgomery was probably the Austin Butler of his day. Yes, one of four in 1932. Next up, still from Warner Archive, maybe one of the biggest pieces of news for many people in this industry for this year. Last Summer from 1969. Josh, you strike me as somebody who's looking forward to this. Is this a Josh movie?
I have not seen this one actually, but I'm aware of it, and if my first opportunity to see it is in a brand new edition, then all the better.
So this is a big Larry Karaszewski project. He is going to be all
Mhm.
over the special features. This is one that was revealed in the last couple of months. And Warner Archive, they don't usually do that very often, where they tease things ahead of time like that. So I think this one, they were worried about it leaking and wanted to get ahead of it.
Mm.
Last summer has been hard to see for a very long time. So if you've never heard of this one, this says set during a languid season on Fire Island. Last summer is a stark and unsettling coming-of-age drama that captures the disaffection and moral drift of the late 60s with unflinching honesty. Directed by Frank Perry, big name, and adapted by Eleanor Perry from Evan Hunter's provocative novel, the film follows 4 teenagers played by the one and only Barbara Hershey, Richard Thomas, Bruce Davison, and Catherine Burns, and an unforgettable Oscar-nominated performance whose summer of idle freedom and social detachment gradually gives way to tragedy. It's shot in a naturalistic style, and it eschews easy judgments, instead presenting a chilling examination of youthful entitlement and emotional void. Seems quite relevant to 2026 in that way. This has a brand new feature-length audio commentary by Larry Karaszewski, and Justin Bozung is on there with him. From March of this year, there's a post-screening Q&A at the American Cinematheque in Santa Monica with Larry, Barbara Hershey, and Bruce Davison in person, which, my goodness, I'm so glad that people are capturing stuff like that. That is incredible. May 3rd, we got a post-screening Q&A at the Paris Theater in New York with Larry and Richard Thomas. There's Trailers from Hell with commentary by Larry, deleted scenes with Richard Thomas and Ralph Waite, original trailer, all that stuff, 4K scans of the original negative and preservation elements. My goodness, this is a pretty stacked disc for Warner Archive, and I need it.
Yeah. I haven't seen the film, but I'm glad that they've moved into doing stuff like this, where there's a lot of supplemental material, because at the beginning it wasn't this, and so I'm glad they're recognizing and really taking advantage of the resources that they have at their disposal, which are vast, obviously.
That and people still being alive. That is kind of the biggest thing to point out here. Is this is from 1969. Barbara Hershey, Bruce Davison are not young, and at this point, this is a big deal to capture their thoughts on this, because there was not a lot of places for that to be captured over the years when you couldn't even see this. So it's kind of incredible. That is it for Warner Archive. That's a big deal. Tons of stuff. So now we move to more important cinema, like You, Me, and Tuscany from this year, coming out on Blu-ray and DVD on June 16th from Universal. Did you jump out to see this one?
I did not. I had never heard of this until I saw it on your feed, so it's all you.
Halle Bailey, otherwise known as the Little Mermaid, and Regis Jean Page, who's from he's from a show or something like that, right? I think. Where's his name? Anyways, he's from something. This is the Tuscany film. We got a feature commentary with the director, some behind the scenes stuff. I've heard this is okay. Never seen it. Probably won't. Next up. This is pretty exciting too. In August, we are getting a 4K and standalone Blu-rays, but not standalone 4Ks, of this box set of films called Italo Crime from Kino Lorber. These cover films from 1973 to 77. It is a 3-film collection. These are brand new SDR masters, so you will not get Dolby Vision or HDR. 4K scans of all of the OCNs are here. We've got The Counselor from 1973, Blazing Magnum from 1976, and Weapons of Death from 1977. Now, I should note, 2 of those we're actually going to be talking about in a little bit, because they're also coming out in the UK from Studio Canal, which, if you're paying attention, that probably means the 3rd one will be coming about a month or 2 later, I would imagine. They've already got the master. You know it's coming. There is going to be a special Shadows in an Empty Room alternative cut of Blazing Magnum. I have a feeling why that one is not coming out right now is because of that. It's going to be a special or more special release over in the UK. All 3 films will be released on standalone Blu-rays. Like I said, there will be bonus features on the discs. Check them out. Italian Crime. I feel like this is right up your wheelhouse, though.
Yeah. I've seen Weapons of Death, but it's been a while. The other 2 I haven't seen, but I am totally into this. This is definitely up my alley. And putting them all together in one box probably makes it cheaper for me, so I'm okay with that.
That's a win. Tomas Milian is in The Counselor. That alone sealed it. Had to get it. So I'm into it. Next up, Repo Men from 2010, getting a 4K and Blu-ray release from Kino Lorber. This is the Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker Repo Men, that I've never seen. We got a archival commentary on here with the director and the writers. New audio commentary by Brian Reisman and Max Every, who's doing a kind of a lot of these like bigger pop culture type of titles that Kino's putting out lately. This also has the theatrical release and the unrated release on Blu-ray, but only the 4K will only be theatrical. I'd never seen Repo Man. Was never something that super appealed to me. Did you get to see this one?
I didn't, and I don't feel slighted by that at all.
Good. All right. That's it on that one then. Hey, how about Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls from 1995, getting a 4K Blu-ray dual format release June 24th from Via Vision in Australia? Are you a Jim Carrey guy, or is this terrible?
I mean, I don't dislike Ace Ventura. The thing that I find most amusing about this particular release is the fact that Viavision teased it with the picture of Ace Ventura coming out of a rhino's butthole on Facebook. I thought that was interesting, and I appreciated the boldness of that decision. But this is probably less transphobic than the original Ace Ventura. I don't know. I haven't seen it in 25 years. But hey, it's for someone, and bless them.
I agree. Two things on that. I think it's hilarious that that's not the last time we're going to say butthole tonight, because there is another post I made that was a really a heartfelt choice the week after being canceled by YouTube. The second thing, one brand new bonus feature on here, and that is a visual essay by Jason Kleberg called Silent Films to Looney Tunes on Jim Carrey becoming a live-action cartoon. I actually produced this featurette, and Jason knocked it out of the park. The visual essay is incredible. I really hope people like it. The other part is we worked so hard for about a month and a half to get Steve Odekirk to do a commentary with us, and just couldn't get it to line up. I really wanted the director of this to kind of like open up after all these years, and just he could not get scheduled, unfortunately. So if this ever comes to the US, I will probably try again if I hear about that happening. The hard part is this is an in-house restoration by Via Vision, and a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, I'll just wait for the US one. I don't know that that's coming. This was paid for and done by Via Vision in Australia. This is proprietary now. Somebody else is going to have to buy that restoration from them. I don't see a lot of people spending money on that. Even Kino, I got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the sound of that featurette is, that sounds great because he is a live action cartoon, and so I can see, like, when you first started describing it, I was like, okay, that sounds like an interesting thing to watch. So who knows? The problem with some of these Via Vision releases, for me personally, is that they get trapped in these giant box sets, and then there's I don't know if they often make the jump to some sort of standard release. So there are a few of them that I'm like, I would really love the film, but I don't want to pay $90 for the film. Like Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert is one that I'm waiting for, but it's only available for like $80, and I don't like it that much. I like it $30 worth,
And it takes up the space of like 4 films on your shelf too.
Yeah, and I don't have that space.
Neither do I. I am not moving this camera so you could see.
Yeah.
Next up, Second Sight teased that they've got a 4K coming. If I had legs, I'd kick you. I saw this last year. First off, is this one that are you working on this one?
I am not working on this one. No, this is not one of the ones I'm working on. But I will say that I had mentioned it because I wanted to see it. I love Rose Byrne. I'm a big fan of Conan O'Brien also. He talked about it quite a bit, in the run up to releasing and all that kind of stuff. And so I watched it. Well, I had mentioned it, and then you said that it was the best movie that you never wanted to watch again, or something to that
of last
effect.
Year. Yes.
Of last year. And I was like, okay. And then I watched it, and I was like, okay, I see what you're talking about, because it is very stressful.
Yeah.
And not strictly speaking a good time coming out of the film.
Correct.
But it's very well made. It's a very good film.
Rose is great. I do want to point out too. I don't remember how much I said about it at the time. ASAP Rocky is kind of fucking incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
He gives a really great, like very not taking the spotlight performance. And with somebody like that, you would kind of expect them to try to lean into that a little bit. But as a parent, this movie sucks to watch. This entire movie. God, yeah, great movie, but God, does it suck to watch.
It's got that Babadook energy a little bit, that sort of like, what is this person doing, and you feel the stress coming off of that. Like, I just want to help. How can I help? Stop. Please stop. Please just stop. I want to make this better. I'm doing everything wrong. I'm a terrible parent. Been there, done that.
Also want to shout out Christian Slater for just being a voice for like 92 minutes of this movie and then on screen for 42 seconds in a great performance.
Yeah.
Next up, I was on the Cult Movies podcast just trashing Breathless. Go give it a listen. It was fun. Deep Water from this year, getting a Blu-ray and DVD release on July 14th from Magenta Light Studios here in the U.S. Rennie Harlan. This almost feels like somebody that could be a Josh favorite or a Josh hated. Are you a Harlan-atic?
I mean, I wrote for Deep Blue Sea, so I enjoy Rennie Harlan.
Yeah.
I have no idea who the fuck Magenta whatever is, but I've heard things from friends who have seen this film that it is more an air disaster film than a shark film. Either one of which is fine. Both of which sounds great. But from what I understand, the mix is not as effective as one might hope. I'm going to give it a shot. Like, this is something that I'm into. I like Aaron Eckhart. Ben Kingsley cashes a check like nobody's business. So, we'll see. I'm not going to, it's, you know what? When it's on Amazon for $7.99 in 2 months, I'll pick it up.
I love that Ben Kingsley is, I don't know, like 81 now. And he's like, you know what? A Rennie Harlan plane crash movie. Yeah, let's do it. That's fucking
Motherfucker
amazing.
was Gandhi. He was Gandhi. And now he's this. It's fine. It's fine.
Have you kept up with any of the other Harlan stuff from the last couple of years? I mean, Stranger stuff aside, there's a couple others in there too.
Not particularly. The Stranger stuff really, like, I went into the first Strangers movie expecting it to be, not expecting much, just like trying to go with an open heart.
Yeah.
And I came out with my heart crushed, and I just could not go back and to see the other two. So I'll give him a chance with something like this. But he's not someone that I'm like, ooh, the new Rennie Harlan film, I have to go see that. Right. That's not where I am with Rennie Harlan.
It's a good choice. Good choice. Another one that I had no idea what this was. June 9th, we are getting a Blu-ray from Indie Pix Films, and that's PIX, of A Yard of Jackals from 2024, a film I've never heard of, with actors I've never heard of, by a company I've never heard of. This is not confidence-inducing.
I appreciate them saving the text and not writing out pics or pictures. Yes. And using the X, it's definitely saving someone time and energy. I like the quote on the cover that says "cryptic and gripping," which tells me absolutely nothing about the film, and the floating heads. So I will probably not see this.
That review was pretty perfect. Special features and technical specs on here. Picture-in-picture video commentary.
Wow.
With the director. Now, normally, if it's a company that I cannot even verify is a real company, I won't post. But this is the reason I posted this. Video commentaries are freaking rad, and more companies need to do them. This is great. I love that they have this. A picture-in-picture commentary is incredible. We get a behind-the-scenes featurette and a trailer on here. It's in Spanish with English subs. I may try it out just for the picture-in-picture commentary.
Okay, I'm gonna get canceled for this, but it's late at night somewhere, so I'm just gonna say it. The greatest video commentary in the history of video commentaries is R. Kelly for Trapped in the Closet. If you ever have an opportunity to watch the Trapped in the Closet DVD, steal it. Don't buy it. Don't pay money for it. But if you have an opportunity to watch it, watching R. Kelly watch his own movie on a leather recliner, smoking a cigar, laughing at all of his own jokes is one of the most ridiculous experiences I've ever had. And I cannot recommend it enough, as long as you make sure that no money goes to him or his estate or whomever is involved with Trapped in the Closet.
And then
Just,
maybe don't log it on Letterboxd.
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. But it's truly something to witness.
And mark it here and now. Hopefully, if I ever get a chance to do a picture-in-picture commentary for a disc, I absolutely will make that a big effort to do. Anyways, man, I am really hoping I get to see this in the theaters, but it's not often we get to announce a film coming to physical media before it even hits theaters. Because Caroline is coming to theaters on June 5th, the next Adam Rehmeyer film. This one's starring Samara Weaving and Kyle Gallner, and I've been waiting on this for a long time. But we already know it's getting a Blu-ray and DVD on August 25th. No news on bonus features or anything like that yet. Adam is usually pretty into that, but Magnolia's usually pretty bare bones. Adam Rehmeyer, you a fan? You into that stuff? And yeah, how about this movie? You've been looking forward to it, or have you seen it actually?
I haven't. No, I know it played TIFF last year. I didn't get a chance to see it at that time. Adam Rehmeyer, Dinner America, loved Dinner America. That's a great film. His previous film, The Bunny Game, hated. So there's that dichotomy. But I love Samara Weaving. Samara Weaving's fantastic. And so I'm definitely into checking this one out. Like, I've heard good things from people who saw it at TIFF last year, who had talked about it, because at South by Southwest, there were two Samara Weaving films. There was the new Ready or Not, and then there was also Over Your Dead Body. And so she was on everyone's minds, and I remember people talking about, oh, by the way, she has this other movie that premiered last year that no one's seen really. And so I'm into it. Like, I'll definitely check it out. And Kyle Gallner's great, in everything I've seen him in so far.
He is kind of incredible. And yeah, Adam Rehmeyer, one of those filmmakers that I feel like every movie he's ever going to make is going to be great after The Bunny Game.
After The Bunny Game.
June 5th, we have a Blu-ray Steelbook coming everywhere in the world, kind of, from Mercury Studios. They are generally a more music-based company, but they hand dip into certain film-type releases sometimes, and they are putting out Monty Python's Fliegender Circus. This is the Monty Python's Flying Circus from 1972, where they made some things specifically for German audiences. This was updated to a worldwide release after it was announced just for the UK. It will be on June 5th. The disc itself will be region free. So if you're super into Monty Python, you can pick up any copy of this. You'll be able to watch it. But this says, for the first time ever on Blu-ray, 2 rare Monty Python episodes recorded for German TV in 1972, presented in HD in a deluxe steelbook for worldwide release from Mercury Studios. This is also going to have on here some other things, including a new restoration Euro show from 71, outtakes called Mountain Stream Outtakes, and then another one called Swimming Lessons with Arthur Lustgarten, the Montreux special, a restoration demo. And the outtakes are things that I don't believe have ever been seen, which is pretty damn cool, or at least not seen in a little over 30 years, it looks like. Monty Python, are you a Monty Python fan?
I watched them a lot when I was a kid. I haven't watched them a lot since. I would like to go back and rewatch it. It's one of those things where it has this gigantic cultural footprint, but the actual series was small. Like, there's not a lot of Monty Python. And this is something that I did not know existed until this popped up. Do you know if they were performing in German or if it was recorded in English? I'm curious about that. That'd be,
if I remember right, I believe it's recorded in English, and then they dubbed it for German TV. And the big thing is there are other versions of some of the skits that we've all seen. And that, with Monty Python, that is some of the funniest things, is to see how things evolved over time, or they performed 814 times, and by the last time, you can just tell they're just, fuck it, everybody knows silly walks, let's walk crazy. So,
no, I'm into it.
Next thing is The Mortuary Assistant getting a Blu-ray and DVD release on July 14th. This says newly certified mortician Rebecca Owens accepts a night shift at a mortuary, embalming bodies alone after hours. She must navigate demonic rituals, unravel the secrets of her enigmatic mentor, and confront her own buried traumas to survive the night and prevent her body from becoming a vessel for possession. Because obviously, yeah, had no idea about this one. Willa Holland is in this with Paul Sparks. It's a Shudder film. Any thoughts? You seen this one?
I have not. I have no thoughts. I like the mortuary part, but I could not tell you more about that.
I agree. Paul, a friend from Australia, is saying they performed that last Monty Python thing in German, actually.
See, that's really interesting. I would watch
Very.
that. Yeah.
Very.
People performing phonetically in languages they don't speak, very interesting to me.
The comment now from Mr. Right Stuff of, I'd love to hear No One Expects the Spanish Inquisition in German. By far, the sentence that I am going to adore from tonight. So thank you. Next up, Kickstarter is currently available for a funding of Silent Cartoons All-Stars. This is going to be following up on Silent Cartoon All-Stars Volume 1, or sorry, this is Silent Cartoon All-Stars Volume 1. This is following up their Mutt and Jeff Blu-ray that they did on another Kickstarter. And this is going to have, the list above includes the film scans that we already have acquired. So they've got things like let's see, Gertie on Tour, How a Mosquito Works, newly discovered footage not previously known to survive, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the character Walt Disney created before Mickey Mouse, and then Lost after that. There's a sampling of Disney's Alice comedies, the live-action animation hybrid that initially established Disney, Felix the Cat, and more. Some of the Fleischer stuff is really cool. Very curious to see how this does. A lot of these animation Kickstarters tend to do pretty well. I'm glad that there's still a following for these. These are the kind of things that I think really need just plain support. I really wish somebody would just come in and fund the entire thing kind of quietly behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think preservation for something like this is super important. I don't know a lot about these cartoons, but I would love to know more. And it's stuff like this that makes that happen.
I agree. Next up, the next Steven Soderbergh film that came out this brand new year, this year alone, The Christophers with Ian McKellen. This is coming to Blu-ray from Decal on July 14th. Have you seen this one?
I have not. I enjoy the work of everyone involved. I will say that there is no one worse at retiring from his job than Steven Soderbergh.
This is true.
He quit directing a decade ago, and he has directed 15 films since. Ed Solomon, love him. If for no other reason than he wrote Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, he could ride on that in my mind until I die. And you know, I'll watch this at some point. I'm into it. I want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded good. I feel like it had a pretty poor trailer. And that's easy to say about a lot of contemporary films, but this being such a quiet film, and you've got freaking Ian McKellen and Soderbergh, like, we should have been hammering home McKellen and Soderbergh so much more than I feel like they did.
Yeah.
This sounds great. It's got a conversation with the screenwriter Ed Solomon and Charlie Kaufman on the disc, which is really cool. We get a trailer on there, and that is it. Yeah, I definitely want to see this one. I don't know that I want to see it enough to buy the Blu-ray immediately. I love me some Soderbergh, but there's some misses in the catalog. So,
well, if he would just stop, then he could really get that percentage up.
That would be true.
The batting average would rise.
I'm kind of curious to hear if you've seen this one. August 4th, we get a Blu-ray coming of Exit 8 from Decal. Did you get to see this?
I didn't know it played at Beyond Fest last year, and I wasn't able to. It wasn't playing in the window when I was in town, and so I'm very interested in it, but it's going to have to be a home viewing for me.
Yeah. This is one of the video game adaptations that have come out this year, and this one is really intriguing looking. Just like Paul said, love the image that they're using on the cover here. This, I believe, has all of the same special features that are going to be on that UK release from Vision's Home Video. I need to verify, so don't quote me on that one. But I don't think there's anything special on either one at this point. So we got a Q&A with the writer, director, and a making of and a trailer. But yeah, this movie looks pretty damn interesting. I am quite curious to see all the physical, practical effects that they used on this.
I'm interested in the way that Decal does their releases, because it seems like they do sort of bare bones ish or super deluxe ish, and there's not a whole lot in between. You know, with the Old Boy release that they did a couple of years ago, and the No Other Choice release that's coming up soon. Like that's like the top end, and then they've got something like this, which is not nothing, but I just find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you would think like something like Immaculate that they put out. They put it out on a 4K. It had hardly anything on the disc. The director of Immaculate is a big physical media fan. Like he is outspoken all for it. And there's a shat out $18 4K that nobody cares about. And then on top of that, they put out the 4K like a year after the Blu-ray, or 8 months or something like that of the Blu-ray. Come on, let's do it right.
Yeah.
Next up, Film Masters on August 11th is putting out a Blu-ray called Elementary Cinema, the early films of Sherlock Holmes. Now, what's interesting is this is listed as 2021, and this took me forever to find, because come to find out, this is a documentary made by Ballyhoo Motion Pictures on the previous Film Detective release that they did, the box set of the Sherlock Holmes films, and they're just giving that a feature spot on a Blu-ray again. But they are supplementing it with all kinds of Sherlock Holmes goodness, if you are into that stuff. So we've got a Black Sherlock Holmes. That's what it's called. That's not racism. Restored version from 1918. We have another Black Sherlock Holmes. This is an uncut 2K scan from 1918. We've got Copper Beaches from 1912, which is a short film. 1913's Cousins of Sherlocko. Slick Slews from 1926, a Mutt and Jeff cartoon. Sherlock Holmes from 1928, a Felix the Cat cartoon. We've got a short from 1900 called Sherlock Holmes Baffled. Sherlock Holmes television episode called The Case of the Blind Man's Bluff from 1954. Sherlock Holmes and the Blue Carbuncle audio recreation by Redfield Art Studio. What are we doing? There's so much on here. I had not even heard of most of this. Plus, a booklet with the new essay, Holmes, BBR Before Basil Rathbone by Richard Heft. Sherlock Holmes, is that a minutia that you have found yourself buried in at any point in your life?
Not particularly, but like this all sounds very interesting. If it found its way to me, I would probably have a good time with it, but it's not something I'm going to seek out. I mean, I do enjoy, and I like the fact that Film Masters is doing the work for this kind of stuff. This is, again, one of those things that's definitely for someone's going to love this.
Oh yeah. I would absolutely say this is someone's favorite. Next up, Mars Attacks. Now, this has been revealed for quite some time, but we finally got some pre-orders and not some necessary details, but we know that it's coming soon in a 4K steelbook in the US and the UK from Warner Brothers. Mr. Tim Burton, are you into his films? Is this one that you remember loving?
I do, actually. You've got interior art, theoretically, for this case. I saw every Tim Burton. Yeah, maybe. I saw every Tim Burton film theatrically up until Planet of the Apes, which I did not see. And then I think after that, I saw a few also. I love Mars Attacks. It is ridiculous and dumb in the best possible way. I think it would really benefit from a 4K release. It's colorful and exaggerated, and I think this has the potential to be great. So I'm into it.
I agree. Fully into this myself. Pre-orders up on Amazon, Groove in the UK. They're up everywhere. HMV, all those same things. But I cannot let this go by without just kind of being pissed off at Warner Brothers, even though we just heaped a bunch of praise on them for Warner Archive. This process sucks ass. The fact that you want people to come out and spend $35 on a steelbook only without the option of a standard, and you're not even revealing the art for the steelbook, nor are you even revealing the disc details that we're putting up for pre-order. We don't know if there's Dolby Vision. We don't know if there's Dolby Atmos. We don't know if there's new special features. We don't know any of that. And that is not cool for consumers. And I mean, frankly, it should not be allowed. Like, you don't even know what product you're buying, literally.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with all of that.
It is a really weird choice. And then to throw it out there, if you want to spend, I don't know, twice the money, there is a special edition coming out of the UK that also has a rigid slipcase around the steelbook, 2 double-sided theatrical posters, 2 alternate art cards, 5 iconic scene art cards, 3 behind-the-scenes art cards, and on-disc special features is listed as part of this special edition. So does that mean nobody else is? I don't know. This sucks.
I mean, it's a pattern that seems to happen quite a bit. You know, with films like Nightmare on Elm Street did something similar. What's the other one that's coming up pretty soon? Speed Racer also has a steelbook only, and then like the fancy edition in the UK, which I find interesting because the UK is a significantly smaller market, but maybe they're just more into the fancy stuff. Who knows?
That I honestly think it's because somebody that works at Warner Brothers in the UK just still loves home video and cares a lot more than the US. That's great if that's the case.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Visual Vengeance is a company that we had taken some time away from, but now they seem to be back with, pardon the pun, vengeance. They have been announcing stuff like crazy. So we got a few here to talk about tonight. August 25th, there's a Blu-ray coming of Reanimator Academy from 1992. This is produced by the early 90s video store rental market by, and I'm saying this wrong on purpose because this is a running joke on the show, David Dakota. Obviously, that's not his name. It's just hilarious to say it like that. And directed by the equally renowned Brett McCormick, who did The Abomination, which they had previously released under Visual Vengeance. This is a very interesting looking release. The film itself does not look great. It's a SOV to the max, but the art on this looks kind of wild, and all of the story behind this sounds kind of incredible. This is the first time ever on disc following its initial VHS release. That is already being argued as not true by somebody, by the way. So Visual Vengeance is saying this. Maybe do some research if that is a compelling reason for you to buy this. Transfer from the existing SD tape masters, and then all kinds of extras. Visual Vengeance really knows how to load these up. We got a commentary from Sam Panico, who's been on here before. He's from B&S About Movies. Check out their show. It's great. Bill Van Ryn is also in there. They're both from the Drive-In Asylum. We got Brett McCormick getting interviewed. We got Reanimator Academy location tour, which I love that we're still doing that for SOV films. Kind of incredible. And then so much like alternate director's cut from 2023, a bonus film from 1994 called Children of Dracula, another interview about Children of Dracula, Reanimator Academy Q&A at the Nighthawk Cinema in New York. We got a bunch of trailers, folded mini poster, stick your own VHS stickers, slipcover, blah, 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 tons of stuff. This is crazy. Are you into SOV at all?
I mean, if it's fun, I'll watch it. I feel like there's a pretty decent chance that there's more money put into this release than there was the production of the actual film.
Yeah. Probably can't argue that. Even the art alone almost feels more expensive than just the film itself.
The art's great. I mean, if I saw that on a video shelf when I was 12 in 1993, I would grab it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's like Boys Lisa Frank, and it's great.
Yeah.
All right, next up from Visual Vengeance is Cyclops from 1987. This is coming on August 11th on Blu-ray. Now, if you're a big fan of Cyclops, and this is a movie you've been waiting on for a long time, you might want to hop over to Diabolic DVD, where you can also purchase a bonus kit with a human flesh repair kit that comes with the movie. I think that's just a first aid kit, Jesse. But this is hilarious. Yeah, go check out that deluxe edition there if you want. We get a brand new 2K transfer from the original 16mm film elements, not shot on video for this one. We get a commentary with Justin Decloux of the Important Cinema Club and Patrick Macias, the author of Tokyo Scope, the Japanese cult film companion. New interview with the director. We got Not in the Way You Expect, the films of Joji George Ilda, video essay. All the monsters are here, the Japanese DTV market of the mid-'80s visual essay. And then all the usual stuff, some galleries, some posters, some stickers, all that fun stuff, and even liner notes from Visual Vengeance. This is pretty cool.
I know nothing about this film, but again, the art is selling it, so good for everyone.
Visual Vengeance is great at marketing.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll say that. But the one that I'm most excited for out of this new edition from them is August 11th, a Blu-ray of Fatal Flying Guillotine from 1977. This one says, deep in the forbidding valley of no return, a reclusive master driven to madness by his own obsessive training perfects a nightmarish weapon, the lightning strike, a savage evolution of the flying guillotine with twin whirling blades designed for maximum carnage. That is a hell of a synopsis. Visual Vengeance. Good job. Any intruder who dares cross into his domain faces instant decapitation with ruthless precision. But when a vengeance-driven fighter sets his sights on the valley, seeking justice for his mother's death, he must confront both the master's deadly invention and the head-chopping chaos it leaves in its wake. Arriving cheaply and quickly in the fury of the flying guillotine craze that swept 70s international martial arts cinema, this film taps into the era's appetite for outrageous kung fu spectacles sparked by the breakout 1976 smash hit Master of the Flying Guillotine, which I did read all of that to say we have now heard from somebody associated with it that there is a release of Master of the Flying Guillotine coming restored soon, finally. We don't know from who yet. My intuition says Arrow, probably, with what they've been putting out, but that's pretty exciting. We got a new 2K transfer from the original elements on this one, supervised and composited by film archivist Toby Russell. We got a commentary by Justin Decloux, brief history of the Flying Guillotine movies, visual essay. Chan Su Peng was there, visual essay, some interviews, and some more information on here. Is this a Josh type of movie?
For sure. Yeah, this is something I'm definitely interested in. Again, this specific title, I don't know, but it sounds right up my alley. Especially if it's a lower rent version of the actual films, definitely something I want to check out.
Speaking of Hallmark trash, yes.
Yeah.
Anime. I am not an anime guy. Are you super into anime or even into anime at all?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, we'll fly through this then. July 28th, Blu-ray Steelbook in the U.S. from Crunchyroll of The Apothecary Diary Season 1. And there's some trailers and some art cards. Check it out if you're into it. Next. The drama from this year with Robert Pattinson getting his second shout out for the night is coming on 4K and Blu-ray from A24 themselves this July. We had a commentary with the costume designer on this film, the production designer, and the co-editor. Wardrobe and camera test with commentary on this one. Relationship hotline promo, a wedding video, and 6 collectible postcards. Did you get to see the drama?
You know, I had an opportunity to, and it didn't inspire me to leave my couch. So maybe it's great. I will watch it. I don't want to pay $40 to do so. So I will wait for it to land on HBO.
$40 is a lot. I can absolutely say that. A24 stuff is usually at least okay. I certainly wish they put more on their discs. And I tend to be one that likes their packaging. It's not terrible, but it is pricey for what you're getting, it feels like.
Yeah. I have quite a few of their discs, but I'm trying to pare down to things I'll actually enjoy and want to share.
Yeah, again, 9,000 DVDs. I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is not much news, but did want to say if you're in the area, go to the Chattanooga Film Festival from June 18th to 21st. And we, speaking of antenna, are going to be having 3 things involved at Chattanooga. We are technically not supposed to say anything yet. So that's why I'm saying 3 things involved. But if you go to the website, you'll absolutely see one that we've not announced yet. And hey, that is kind of cool. You can go get a little head start on some other people. Have you been to Chattanooga for their fest yet?
I have not been there, but I've covered it over the last few years. I admire what they do, and I think that they're one of the more adventurous genre film festivals out there.
They're also, I'm not sure if you agree or not, so hopefully you're not going to come back and be like, no. They're also one of the best virtual festivals, in my opinion. Yeah. They tend to really know how to take care of it. It's very streamlined compared to some of the others. So yeah, they got a lot of virtual stuff. If you are far away, not in Chattanooga, check it out. You'll be able to see some antenna things there.
They were literally the first festival to turn to virtual when pandemic started. It was them who set the standard for what was going to happen next before any other festival did. So they've been on that train for 6 years now. So that's one thing that I can definitely credit them with.
They are absolutely revolutionary. Second Sight, again, teasing something else. Later this year, they are putting out a 4K of The Color of Pomegranates from 1969, a film that I have yet to see. I've always wanted to see. It looks beautiful. They did, I believe, release this years ago, if I remember right, on Blu-ray. So interesting. I think this is only the second thing that they've revealed that they are upgrading, which they've got a hell of a slate that they put out in the past, but This is not really one I expected them to upgrade, but I'm sure it'll do well for them. Have you seen the color pomegranates?
I have not. I have their previous release, the very fancy previous release of this, and I imagine that it will be a significant upgrade in terms of, if they're able to do the all the HDR stuff, and that will be a significant upgrade. They had previously Reanimator, which I worked on, so that's another upgrade. I am currently working on another upgrade that will be. I don't know when it'll be announced because that's not my thing. But I'm working on another thing for them as well that is coming up at some point in the next year or so, I would imagine. So
nice.
Keep an eye out for more Second Sight. They're one of the best in the biz. If they release something, you can be pretty sure that it's going to be at least among the best versions of whatever film they're releasing.
100%.
Yes.
So, as an FU to YouTube last week, I absolutely chose this picture on purpose. I could have ran with anything else, but Ignite Films put out some very interesting announcements associated with Cannes, of all places, and they led with Society coming out on 4K. We got 4 announcements of what is coming out from 4K, all of these coming in 2027. First up, Society from 1989. Then we got Horror Express from 1972, Bloody Birthday from 81, and The Baby from 1973. Wild lineup of films. Any here that you love and will absolutely be purchasing?
So I love all of the films. All 4 of these are fantastic. Society's great. Horror Express is great. Bloody Birthday's great. The Baby's great. The thing is, I have. As a huge Reanimator fan, I pre-ordered the most expensive version of Reanimator that they had, and then basically as soon as it arrived in my mailbox, I got the email from Second Sight saying, "Hey, we're doing that too. Do you want to work on it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, but I just paid $100 and something to get this dumb bobblehead." Oh
man.
It's not to say this will happen with any of these other films, but I'm super into all of these films getting 4K upgrades, even more so than their already announced Bride of Reanimator, which I love less than the other Reanimator films. But these are all great, and so if nothing else, it's inspiring that their 4K scans of these films do exist and will be released and at least available. So.
Society is wild. I love that I could use a butthole picture for this and show it on YouTube, and that would be okay because this corporation is fucking weird. Society rules. Horror Express is pretty amazing. If you've never seen Horror Express, it's kind of like required horror viewing if you're gonna
absolutely
be a fan of the genre. Bloody Birthday is a classic. Not my favorite, but still fun. And The Baby is wild. If you've never seen The Baby, it's not like End of Society wild, but it is something that you kind of got to see it. It is pretty incredible. Ignite, though, going from something like noir on a 4K steelbook that they just put out in the last couple of weeks, and then the next week at Cannes to announce Society on 4K. I am all here for that sort of like renegade, fuck the industry. We're announcing Society on 4K at Cannes spirit. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about this earlier. Studio Canal is putting out The Counselor on 4K from their Cult Classics line over in the UK. This is the same as what we were getting from Kino Lorber in that box set, but this does have some things that will likely not be on the Kino discs. We've got a new visual essay on here. We get a new audio commentary by Steve Mitchell and Troy Howarth. That one will most likely be on the Kino one because those are Kino guys. And then on that same day, they are putting out Weapons of Death. This is coming on a 4K and Blu-ray release. This will have a 12-page booklet and then a new visual essay by Will Webb, new audio commentary by Steve Mitchell, Troy Howarth, and Nathaniel Thompson. And then I love that they wrote this new archival interviews with the actor and the director, which means they've probably just never been seen, and they unearthed them, and so they're brand new that for anybody. But they threw a bunch of stuff on here. Kino will likely not have all of that. Kino's just sort of, let's throw one thing under the hood and hope that they're happy. I certainly want the films. So
I mean, that's definitely Henry Silva on that cover, so I'm into it.
Absolutely. The cheeks give it away.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheeks, that was awful.
Come on, man.
June 23rd, we get a Blu-ray coming from Lionsgate finally in the U.S. of last year's The Last Showgirl. Great movie. Got a Blu-ray overseas. A lot of people imported that, and they only put it out on DVD here. And now finally, it is coming on Blu-ray randomly the following summer. This is such an odd choice from Lionsgate because this movie didn't do super well in the theaters, but they also didn't push it too hard. But for most people, this was a beloved film. Like a lot of people really loved this.
Yeah, I when this showed up on the feed, I was like, surely this got a release a year ago. And again, I think it's been on Hulu forever. And so it's a bizarre choice to release it to Blu-ray now, unless they plan on pushing it. I mean,
right.
But great, good, happy.
I feel like at this point, I would not be surprised if in 3 months they announced a Lionsgate Limited 4K Steelbook of The Last Showgirl.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. Sibner, good question. Do I have to have seen Showgirls before I see this? Yes, but only in person.
Right.
All right. Next up, we are nowhere near done, funny enough. July 14th, 4K Steelbook and standard versions, plus a Blu-ray, plus a DVD coming of Lee Cronin, name above the titles The Mummy from this year. I have still not been able to see this one. I really want to. I was a big fan of Evil Dead Rise, and this has Dolby Vision HDR. We got a Dolby Atmos track, audio commentary by Lee Cronin, a making of on the film, bloody and grotesque spectacle, blood, guts, and toenails fuel this inside look at the film. We've got a possession and ancient demons exploration of the story. Did you get to see The Mummy?
I did, yeah. I saw this at an advanced screening, and then I complained to my wife about it all the way home.
Nice.
It's if you like Evil Dead Rise, it is an Evil Dead movie with a mummy title, basically, is what it is. Which would be fine. It would be fine if this was a Evil Dead movie.
Right.
But it's not an Evil Dead movie, really. So I found the whole film confused. Like, it didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know how to be what it wanted to be. And it's also just really long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something crazy like that.
Jesus.
Which makes it complicated to like enjoy it as just pulpy entertainment if they keep trying to shove more story in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and someone just mentioned, like, am I supposed to know Lee Cronin? If you're putting your name on the title, that you should probably have more than 2 films under your belt, and more than one that anyone actually saw. Yeah, I enjoy Lee Cronin's work, but I don't think this is going to be remembered in the way that Evil Dead Rise hopefully will.
There's been certain speculation that it was literally because it was titled The Mummy, and so they wanted it to come across as a different film than the other 114 movies called The Mummy. But if that's the case, name it something else. It's not that hard. Like, it's such an odd choice to put a director's name in the marketing when it's not a named director.
Well, it's also a Blumhouse thing. Like, that's a Blumhouse thing. Like, there's all these Blumhouses, Fantasy Island, and Blumhouse is this and Blumhouse that, and it's just like nobody gives a shit about the director if the movie's not good. Nobody gives a shit about the production house if the movie's not good. So, people enjoy this film, and I get that, and I understand it. It is gory and it is gross, and that's something that many people, myself included, really enjoy. But it does not sustain the runtime that it's putting people through.
135 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
That is a weird cover to see after what we were just talking about. July 14th, we get a 4K Blu-ray and DVD coming from Magnolia of Normal from this year, starring Bob Odenkirk in the latest of his new action craze that he is leading at this point. This one is going to be a 2-disc 4K and Blu-ray combo pack if you get the 4K. We got HDR on the disc, Dolby Atmos, a making of, Ben Wheatley storytelling featurette, Bob Odenkirk Normal and Ulysses, Derek Kolstad the characters featurette, Henry Winkler, Mayor Kinber featurette, Mark Provocero the team featurette, some trailers. I didn't get to see this. Any thoughts on the old man action craze that we find ourselves in?
I mean, it's Liam Neeson 2.0, right? So like I get that, and I like Bob Odenkirk. I'm interested in seeing this. I missed it at a couple of festivals. It played at South by Southwest when I was there, but it conflicted with other stuff. I'm interested in the more than Bob Odenkirk, because he has set his career trajectory at this point after Nobody and Nobody 2, and now this. He is like the next Liam Neeson at this point. I'm more interested in the Ben Wheatley of it all.
Yes.
And the fact that Ben Wheatley is now doing things like this and the Meg 2, and and from where he came, it's a much steeper trajectory. And so, I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out for sure going to check it out. And listening to all the features that you ran off as we were talking about this a moment ago, I would wager that if you total those all up, it's 15 minutes, because that seems to be about the level at which releases like this appear from these companies. Is they'll list a bunch of things, but it's all 3-minute EPK pieces, tiny bits. So
Copy-pasted.
I mean, great. At least it's more than a trailer, but it makes it sound like a lot more in depth than it actually is in most cases.
And generally, what's really sad about those EPK pieces is if you watch all of them, a lot of the footage is copied between.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Not great. Again, we mentioned Magnolia not doing great on discs. That's just another one of those examples. Sony is another one that does pretty great with picture quality usually. July 9th, we are getting a Blu-ray from their Sony Pictures Classics line of A Magnificent Life. This is from last year, and somehow one I had never heard of before this announcement. This looks really good, though. The trailer for this looks pretty enchanting. It says, at the height of his fame, Marcel Pagnol receives a commission from a major magazine to write a literary serial in which he can recount his childhood and life. As he begins writing the first pages, the child he once was, little Marcel, suddenly appears to him. Thus, his memories resurface as the words flow. Acclaimed director Sylvain Chomet brings to life the story of the greatest storyteller. And that sounds interesting. I certainly would love to see this. Yeah.
Seems very cute. The thing says it's from the director of The Triplets of Belleville. Great. Like, I would love to see that. Seems like a lovely Sunday afternoon viewing.
Yeah, I would agree. Next up, a lovely Sunday afternoon viewing, huh? June 16th, 4K Steelbook, standard 4K Blu-ray and DVD of the Super Mario Galaxy will be in your hands if you are after it. There are, same thing, a handful of featurettes on here from Universal to make it look like there's a lot. They even write a paragraph for everyone. It's things like a making of, a look at the cast as they're recording a couple of lines, and that's pretty much it. They're not going to give you a whole bunch on this one, sadly. But if you're super into this movie, you might want this. Are you dying to see the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
No, I saw the last one, and I just couldn't really get into it. I don't know if it's me or the movies. I can't tell at this point. But they feel, it feels like they're written by committee at best, and written by artificial intelligence at worst. And so it's tough to get enthusiastic about stuff like this these days.
It doesn't help when the animation style, the cuts that they do, all feel like they're emulating these shitty YouTube Kids videos, essentially. Yeah. Odd, random, very specific question. Did you get to see the Dogman movie last year?
No, I didn't.
Good. It was one of the only movies in a long time that I've ever truly gotten a headache from watching. And it was because I don't know, in that movie, I don't know that they go longer than 3 seconds before cutting at any point in the movie. It is such a weird, wild way to just feel like they're propelling the story forward, only to keep these shiny keys dangling in front of your child's eyes. And
Yeah.
God, does it suck to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm sure they're marketing to their crowd, and the movie made $1 bajillion, so good for them. But it's contributing to the dumbing down of all of us.
It's true. Absolutely true. That's a good point, Mozart. Like the Apple TV trailers, cut every 2 seconds. We had talked about Shout Factory, or no, yes, we did talk about Shout Factory. It's a weird timey-wimey world right now, considering my suspension last week. Shout re-releasing some site-exclusive stuff that was not revealed when they posted their last announcements, but wanted to give everybody a shout-out that you are going to be able to purchase on July 28th brand new wide releases of the Brave Archer collection, that Larry Cohen Mystery Misdirection collection that they definitely told you was going to be very hard to get because it was selling out, the Stephen Chow collection, and the Tai Lung David Chang collection. These are all going to be wide releases. You can get on Amazon, Orbit, Diabolic, everywhere. You can pre-order them now. All the discs are the same. Nothing is going to be different from what they had on their site before. If they had booklets, they won't have those, but it's all the same discs, which means they're probably going to be great discs, and that's great. But the whole artificial FOMO thing really sucks, and I'm glad people are going to get it, but it just market it better. Like, if you got good product, just sell us the product.
Yeah, it feels like they didn't sell as many as they wanted to when they were exclusive.
Yep.
And so now they have to get rid of stock. I mean, I have the Stephen Chow collection because I'm a Stephen Chow enthusiast and completist and maniac. The other ones I don't have. And part of the thing is with a lot of these Hong Kong releases that they've done, that there are like maybe 1 or 2 films that are trapped inside of a box set that I cannot buy by themselves, and I cannot bring myself to spend $160 to get one movie that I really want. And I'm sure it's contractual. I get it, but it sucks.
The hard part is, I don't know that it is contractual. Maybe I'm just being cynical, but I bet the problem is they have 4 movies and only one of them will sell, and the other 3 will get paid for by that 4th movie.
That's, also very possible.
All right. Next up, we started getting some BFI announcements for the first time in what feels like a while today. We've got On the Beach from 1959 coming to Blu-ray in the UK on July 27th. This had previously gotten a quite robust release from Imprint in Australia. That one, of course, another one of those big boxes that is pretty expensive. So if you did get that, you probably don't need to change to this release. But if you didn't, this is a more inexpensive version of this. We do have some extras on this one. Audio commentary written by Dr. Philip Davey, author of When Hollywood Came to Melbourne, read by the actor Douglas Hansel. Making on the Beach, that's 9 minutes long. Rare 8mm footage shot by the amateur filmmaker Douglas Brockfield. Interview with Donna Anderson from 2015, that's 20 minutes. Trailer, stills gallery, and then all extras could change at some point. BFI always has that in there. They got a booklet with new essays by Christina Brennan and Barry Forshaw, and a biography of Stanley Kramer by Jennifer Frost. Good looking release. I need to see this. Hell of a cast. Still have yet to see this one, though.
Everything you said, I would say also.
Nice. I like saying ditto. Next up, one that I was very curious and glad that you were here. I don't know if you've seen this one. Have you seen this?
I have not. I did look it up earlier because I wanted to be, not even because of this, just because I saw it on BFI's announcement, and I wanted to be like, I'd heard of it, but I hadn't investigated at all.
That makes sense. So August 18th, we are getting a Blu-ray over there in the UK of the Mahabharata. I hope that's pronounced somewhat correctly. This is from 1989 by Peter Brook. This monumental work explores the entanglements between war, ethics, and power. It is an epic that transcends time and space, exposing the dilemmas and devastating consequences resulting from man's choices. In other words, not relevant at all today. Episodes. We got 3 episodes in this, and then extras. Newly restored in 4K, presented in HD. We got an interview with Simon Brooke from 26. He is the son of the director. We've got, let's see, another 75-minute piece on an intimate portrait of the director, Peter Brook, by his son. That one is from 2002. From 1934, we get a gem from the BFI National Archive, a travelogue of the extravagant celebration of the Maharaj of Udaipur. We got some trailers and then an illustrated booklet with new essay by Miriam Fernandez of the Why Not Theater. Yeah, I certainly would like to see this one.
Yeah, I'm interested. It's in doing what little research I was able to do. It's interesting in that it's a British director and the cast is sort of all over the place culturally. Although interesting, none of them Indian. But that doesn't seem to bother anyone. They feel like this is an effective retelling of the story, or effective enough retelling of the story to make it universal. Now, what is interesting about this is that the Mahabharata is also very well known in India as S.S. Rajamouli's dream project. That he has been wanting to make a film about the Mahabharata, which is one of the biggest religious texts in India for decades. And so he talks fairly frequently about the fact that he is still sort of honing his craft in order to feel that he is able to do it justice. And so all the stuff that he's doing now is sort of a run up to a Mahabharata adaptation at some point in the hopefully not too distant future. So that kind of connects back to the stuff that I've talked to him about.
Sure does. Yeah, curious to see that. And I again really need to catch up on everything else Rajamouli's done. I've only seen, I think, two or three. Anyways, man, I really want to see this. I just heard of this like a week and a half ago. Didn't realize this existed, and then a Blu-ray release got announced today. Kind of wild. August 24th, we are getting a Blu-ray and DVD dual format release from BFI of Rose of Nevada from this year with George McKay and Callum Turner. Just those two together, that cast is pretty great. Love me some George McKay. Callum Turner has continuously been really surprising in what he's done. Eternity last year was really great. I feel like nobody else saw that, but pretty good movie. This one sounds fantastic. Mark Kermode, second shout out to Mark Kermode, which is pretty rare on this show, but all in one night. No extras on this release, though, which is interesting. I need to see this.
Yeah, I know nothing about it, but I'm into it.
I agree. But if you're super into Mark Jenkins, you should check out Mark Jenkins' The Cornish Trilogy. This is coming on Blu-ray on August 24th from BFI, and it's got Bate, Ennisman, and Rose of Nevada all together in a little box set, and lots of extras because they've got all of the extras from all of the films that they put out previously, all compiled together. This looks like a really fun set. Yeah. I do have Ennisman, but now I feel compelled to buy the rest because I really need to see Bait. And Rose of Nevada sounds great.
This is our curse.
It is. Anybody want to buy Ennisman, by the way?
Right.
All right. Next is Pressure from the BFI. This is from 1975, coming on September 7th on Blu-ray. This says, with the screenplay written by Horace Ove and fellow Trinidadian author Sam Selvin, Pressure tells the story of Tony, a bright school leaver and son of West Indian immigrants who finds himself torn between his parents' church-going conformity and his brother's black power militancy. This is restored in 4K by the BFI Film Foundation and presented in HD. It's got a 46-minute featurette, which is a striking portrait of the writer James Baldwin that I will not be saying the name of out loud. Archival interviews with Horace Ove, stills gallery of Horace Ove's photographic work. And then in the first pressing, we get a booklet with new writing on the film. Other extras to be confirmed later, which I love when they do stuff like this that gets a lot of stuff thrown at it, because a lot of the BFI stuff doesn't get a ton of extras, but this deserves it. This sounds pretty great.
Yeah. I again have never heard of this, but I'm all about this kind of subculture, this filmmaking. So I'm into it.
Perfect. And then one that oddly I am really excited by. I love these silly things. August 24th, the BFI is putting out a Blu-ray DVD of Daniel Farson's Guide to Britain Volume 2, covering 1956 to 1960. They had just done the first one, November, I think, or October, something like that. And Daniel Farson became a larger-than-life fixture of Soho in the 50s, socializing with the likes of artist Francis Bacon and the photographer John Deacon. But he was also a groundbreaking investigative journalist. And the stuff on this set is just exciting. I love short little docs like this. So we've got Out of Step, Tuned into Nature's Radio, Out of Step, nudism, out of step, one man against the world, out of step, the seventh day, keeping it. Anyways, there's a bunch of these that are about 12 to 30 minutes long, depending. And it just feels like older Louis Theroux type of things. And I love stuff like this. We get commentaries on some of them that they will be confirming at some point. And then there's newly made optional English descriptive subtitles and a booklet that's going to be on this. Are you into silly things like this, like me?
I mean, it feels like sort of a proto Mondo film kind of thing, which sounds super interesting for sure.
Something that you'd find on a something weird compilation and fall in love with it, and then hope that AGFA released in 4 years in 4K. So, speaking of 4K, September 7th, the BFI is releasing a Blu-ray of Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. It will also include his film Bride of the Monster with no other extras. And the way that they wrote this out, it's very much looking like they restored Plan 9 from Outer Space, did not touch Bride of the Monster, and said, well, shit, we need something else on the disc. Let's throw it on there. Just a general reminder to people that Film Masters has revealed that they are doing a 4K UHD of Plan 9 from Outer Space. That being said, that doesn't mean it will look better than the BFI Blu-ray restoration of Plan 9 from Outer Space. I would probably wait on reviews if you were really wanting a 4K of Plan 9 from Outer Space. I would be very choosy of which one of these to get.
Well, this is a public domain title, right? So it's, it could be anything. I have a very harrowing history with this film. It terrified me as a very young child. And now that seems very stupid, but when I was 7, it was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. And again, I feel like this is one where the money put into the restoration and the release of the disc would far outstrip the actual production budget of the film, which I just find fascinating.
Yeah. It's Plan 9 from Outer Space. Everything's been said. I don't need to go into it too much. That being said, I do like that more people are going to be talking about Ed Wood, and I also would like to see some more releases of his other stuff coming up, which has kind of been rumored that Film Masters might be working on more of his stuff, and the Plan 9 from Outer Space 4K might be like the cornerstone of an Ed Wood box set, which would be really cool. I'd like to see more of it out there, more people be able to talk about it, which hopefully would compel Disney to restore Ed Wood the film.
They should put it in the pink fuzzy Angora like they did with the VHSs back in the day.
That would be incredible. Let's see what is next. Via Vision in Australia is putting out a 4K Blu-ray dual format release of The Substitute from 1996. We have been talking about The Substitute way too much over the last 18 months. This has seen multiple releases, including all 3 of the films getting a Blu-ray release in Australia, then the 4K coming to the US from Vestron, and now the 4K coming from Via Vision. Interesting release. This will look exactly the same as the Lionsgate 4K that's coming out from Vestron, which still kind of feels like an odd Vestron title. As far as extras, you're not getting anything new on this. If you really want a hard box for The Substitute, here you go. It's got a poster. I don't know.
I mean, this is one for your Australian viewers.
It's true. There
you go.
Anybody that is not in the US, basically, because Vestron was only locked to their website because Lionsgate sucks. Kino Lorber on July 14th is putting out Hitman from 1972, the Jean-Paul Belmondo and Claudia Cardinale film. We had talked about this last year when Kino announced it, but now we know it's getting a commentary by Simon Abrams. We already spent a lot of time on French New Wave stuff, so we don't need to ruin Jean-Paul Belmondo anymore. But any thoughts on Hitman?
Nope, haven't seen it.
Good choice.
I like Belmondo. I'll put that out there.
Good to know. Gregory Peck in MacArthur, even though you can't see the title because Instagram sucks. This is getting a 4K and Blu-ray release on June 30th. This is from 1977. Again, fairly decent looking cast. Gregory Peck, pretty okay actor from what I hear. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master audio commentary by Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. Nothing else brand new coming on this, but it's a Joseph Sargent film. I'm sure this is great. Not really my type of movie, but I have a feeling I'd still like to see it at least once.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to buy it, but I would like to see it.
Then they are putting out a film that I probably would like to buy. Michael Ritchie's The Island is coming to 4K from Kino. It's also going to get a standalone Blu-ray. This is coming on July 14th. And if you recognize this title, Scream Factory did put it out years ago, and it is the Michael Caine. I don't want to say starring. He is known for being in The Island to certain people that love this film. But really, this is a David Warner film, and David Warner is great. On this, we got a new audio commentary by Mike Leader. We've got a new audio commentary by Howard S. Berger. This is going to get Dolby Vision, which I'm kind of surprised they actually put Dolby Vision on this film. It's pretty cool. This is not a great movie, but it is a fun movie. And if you're into this era, if you're into Michael Ritchie, if you are into certain tropical vibes, you'll probably like this movie. It's a fun one.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. The art on these is great. I mean, it's the original poster art, but the art is fantastic. And yeah, all the contributors you mentioned are people that I would like to. If I were to purchase this, I would consider that to be, are those contributions to be, value added.
I would agree. I am just catching, because I thought I read it wrong out of the corner of my eye, that they call it the super thriller from the author of Jaws and the Deep. What is a super thriller?
It's 10% more than an actual thriller. Not quite a mega thriller.
A little tease for tonight, but this thriller goes to 11.
Yeah.
Next up, Cineverse is putting out a Blu-ray of the movie Blood Barn from 2025. Cool. There's a making of on here, a trailer, a Grindhouse trailer, and a TV spot, plus a director's commentary. Indie horror. Go Cineverse.
I mean, good for them. I can't imagine the TV spot actually played anywhere on TV.
Nope.
But yeah, fine.
What's funny is the TV spot probably played on Screambox, because it's a Screambox title, and that's why they're calling it a TV spot.
Yeah.
All right. Could not show everything on this cover, of course. So June 29th, we are getting a Blu-ray in the UK from 88 Films of Sex and Zen 2. This goes very well with their release of Sex and Zen that they put out like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But
delayed forever. That one was delayed forever.
A very long time. And funny enough, even though that was delayed, I'm kind of surprised they didn't make this exactly kind of stylized to match that one. That one was a big deluxe box, and they said, you know what? This one sucks. Put in a slipcover. That'll be enough. Honestly, it is. I don't need a deluxe box for Sex and Zen 2. No big deal. We got a single-sided poster that's uncensored if you really want it. We got a booklet with notes by Callum Waddell. We've got some special features on here. Fully uncut HD Blu-ray presentation, regraded in the UK. We've got Cantonese mono with newly translated English subs, audio commentary by David West, the original Hong Kong trailer, an image gallery, and it is going to be region B locked if you are not region free, so check it out if you need to, but keep an eye out on that. Sex and Zen 2 or 1, have you seen either of those?
Sex and Zen 1 I've seen many times. I have 3 Blu-rays of it because I thought they would be the only ones available, and then someone else popped up with a new version. Sex and Zen 2 I actually haven't seen, so I'm interested, but I know that the first one was released by Shout Factory not too long ago, so maybe hold off and hope it's not trapped in a box with 6 movies I don't want.
Right. Absolutely. Thanks, Shout Factory, but no thanks. Then, very curious that they went and took the Shawscope title to title this box set. 88 Films on July 27th is putting out a Blu-ray triple feature called Shawscope Triple Feature. This covers 3 films. We've got 2 Champions of Shaolin, Shaolin Prince, and Shaolin Intruders. These are from 1980 to 1983. Audio commentary by Frank Chang and Michael Wirth on one of the films, Derek Yee on acting and directing, Ricky Baker on Shaolin Intruders, and then the original trailers. 88 Films does quite a lot of Shaw Brothers stuff, and it's usually pretty decent. That being said, would not be surprised if these were coming out from Arrow or Shout Factory in the US at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen these particular films. I'm sure they're probably bananas by the years that these releases are. The early 80s. At that point, they turned into, super fast cuts, crazy stuff. And Frank Chang is probably recording 3 commentaries simultaneously right now. based on his output.
In a hotel room with his wife sleeping in the bed and him just like
Yeah.
sitting at the vanity recording.
Exactly.
On Sex and Zen 2, I mean, I have to mention that somebody watching right now just texted me an excerpt from the rating on IMDb, and I've probably read this before at some point, but wanted to read out just so you can keep in mind while watching the film. A man climbs on 2 ladders with 3 watermelons chained to his dick. He calls it Iron Dick and practices it so his dick can be as hard as iron. That is Sex and Zen 2.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down, and I'm gonna get 2 ladders.
Oh man, I love this movie. July 20th in the UK, we are getting a 4K Blu-ray dual format release of Ricky-O, the story of Ricky. Great movie. Brand new 4K restoration in the original aspect ratio. It's got the Cantonese mono theatrical mix with newly translated English subs. It's got the home video mix also with the Cantonese mono and new subs. It's got the classic mono English dub. It's got multiple audio commentaries. Frank Chang, Kim Newman, and Sean Hogan. Another one on top of that. And then a brand new 2026 interview with Terry Wong, who's also Fan Su Wong from the film. And an archival interview with Fan Su Wong as well. I imagine you love Ricky-O.
I have purchased so many versions of this movie from, the Tai Seng VHS back in the 90s, DVDs, the first Tokyo Shock Blu-ray release, which sucked, and then I've had so many different copies of this film. And there was a 4K that was released not too long ago, a couple years ago, that was apparently not real 4K. It was an upscale. So I'm 100% in for this, as long as, and it sounds like it has the original dub, the original English dub, because this is one of very few movies that I will watch in the English dub before I'll watch in the original language, because the English dub for this is fantastic.
I am so glad you said that. This is literally the only movie that I actually prefer the dub on. Every other
incredible.
movie, I will go for the original. This one is so good.
Yes, it is amazing. It's an amazing dub.
Good looking art. This movie's it doesn't ever really have bad art. It's pretty much always been pretty great art. This is pretty good. If this is the last 4K release, which it won't be,
No.
let's be honest, Vinegar Syndrome or somebody will put it out here in the US. That honestly, that's probably going to happen now that I've spoken that out loud. Yeah, I'll be buying this, and then I'll probably get the Vinegar Syndrome in a package that I'm not paying for.
Yes.
July 20th, a Blu-ray coming in the UK from 88 Films of American Pie, the collection. We don't need to spend time on this. It's the main 4 films. They've already released all these films on Blu-ray and 4K. It's just a collection for them to put out another one, just in case you wanted to pick them up. I think may have already lost the rights to the first 2 on 4K, which is really interesting that it was very temporary. But yeah, if you're into the films and you only wanted those 4, hey, pick it up. There you go. Next up, another indie horror. Scream Team releasing I guess they're a boutique in a way. June 1st, they are putting out a Blu-ray of Shadow Reaper from 2024. This is a film that I was not super intrigued by until I saw shot completely on Kodiak film. And for a movie like this, that's kind of amazing. Very curious how and why they chose that. This sounds okay, but very, very interesting. I got an audio commentary, a making of the film, outtakes, photo gallery, trailers. Any thoughts on this? Are you into Scream Team releasing, or ever got anything from them?
I have no interest in this, not through any fault of theirs. I'm sure it's fine for what it is. Shooting it on film probably made it a lot more expensive than it needed to be.
Absolutely. Which, funny enough, they are making that up by also putting this out on VHS. If you are into,
well, they can charge $60 for a VHS, or whatever those cost now.
Next, we've got August 11th, a Blu-ray in the US only, by the way, from 88 Films of Operation Scorpio from 1992. This one sounds really fun. It says a young man learns martial arts from 2 masters of opposing styles. He then combines them to take on a gangster son, a master of scorpion style. A young man that was duplicated. Thanks, 88 Films, for duplicating that, making me look stupid. We got a slipcover with new artwork by Kung Fu Bob, 2K restoration from the OCN. We've got an audio commentary by Paul Bramhall. Conversation with Wang Jin. We've got, I think that's supposed to be Wang Jin. So thank you also for misspelling that. Got 88 films. You're great with QC, by the way. If you ever need help, man, I don't know why you'd need help. This is amazing. Scene specific audio commentary. We've got exclusive to 88 films, a sneak peek at Jump Senior from 2024, a new film from the same director. Conversations with some other individuals, including Lau Kar Lung. Yeah, this sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's probably fine. I'll find it on Daily Motion, and then we'll see what happens.
The most honest statement of tonight, and I love it. Next up in this sort of U.S. only bunch that they're putting out, the first of two Angela Mao films. We've got Stoner from 1974, starring Angela Mao and George Lazenby. Yes, George Lazenby. We got a slipcover, 2K restoration from the OCN, in audio commentary by Frank Chang and Michael Wirth. And this is something I will have to own for sure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this, but the George Lazenby connection is definitely interesting.
Well, if that's not enough, they're also putting out The Tournament, which is also from 1974, and this also has Angela Mao. So very interesting way to combine these together. This is directed by the same director as Stoner that we were just looking at, featuring some of Angela Mao's very best fights. The Tournament is a classic basher from the early 70s with awesome action arranged by the legendary Sammo Hung. 2K restoration. Yeah. Very, very young there. 2K restoration from the OCN, remastered original Mandarin mono soundtrack, and then an audio commentary by Frank Jang and Michael Wirth, because we've not said his name enough yet. Ricky Baker speaking on the tournament, Carter Wong on the tournament, and then English opening and closing credits. And yeah, I feel like I got to get this. Another Golden Harvest. I'm into it.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to Angela Mao. She'll kick you in the face.
Yeah, I really need to go to her restaurant at some point. I would love that. And for those that don't know, she owns and runs a restaurant in New York and still works there from time to time. Vinegar Syndrome, for those that had not heard, is having a sale, and not the sale that we normally are talking about right now. That is next Thursday. But they have a sale at Barnes & Noble right now that is running until June 7th on all of the available OCN titles. It is 50% off. And now, for all of you watching the show, that might not be super enticing. You've got a site-wide sale coming next week. But the big thing is a lot of titles that will not be on sale in that sale are on sale in this sale. So just like the Arrow and Criterion and all those other sales that we talk about in Barnes & Noble throughout the year, these are all available in person, online, whatever. But all of their titles that were under OCN are all available that they had listings for at least half price, which if you're after one of these and you didn't want to wait until November because it wasn't going to be on sale yet, this is a cool opportunity.
For sure.
And
go get Huckle. Huckle's available.
Go get Huckle. July 21st, we got a 3D Blu-ray coming from Kino and the 3D Film Archive of Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin in Money from Home from 1953. I'm not a big Jerry Lewis fan. Are you?
I could do without.
Good. I agree. This one, brand new HD master from a 4K restoration by Paramount and 3D Film Archive, restored from the 35mm Dynoptic 3D Technicolor camera negatives. That's all interesting. I'm into that. That's exciting. And then I see it's Jerry Lewis. Audio commentary with film historians James L. Nybar and Mike Ballou. Audio commentary with Nathaniel Thompson and Howard S. Berger. A documentary short and Dean's Disc music short. And then on the set slideshow. Really cool. You've got the flat version on here as well if you don't have the 3D glasses. Usually they include a pair of 3D glasses in here. Would not be surprised if there was at least one. Yeah, I like 3D.
Yeah, I mean, good. Another good for the archivists, you know.
Agreed.
It's there.
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Next up, we just talked about this, so we won't spend too much time, but Brit Noir Collection number 3 is coming this summer, July 28th from Kino Lorber. This is covering films from 1958 to 61, and the films in this are Nowhere to Go from 1958, The Man Upstairs from 1958 again, and then Payroll from 1961. We've got commentaries by David Del Valle, Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Gary Garani. Are you into noir much?
I haven't ventured much outside the original American stuff from the 40s and 50s. So I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't explored.
I have not even done much of the 40s to 50s, so I get it. Speaking of a little bit of noir, Walk a Tightrope from 1963 is getting a Blu-ray release on July 28th. This one was announced last year, and now they're finally putting it out this year. Audio commentary on Gary Garani, or by Gary Garani as well. Dan Dreye is in this one. Patricia Owens. I know nothing about this one.
Great cast. That's all I know.
Then Hammer, as part of their Hammer Presents line, is putting out a 4K and Blu-ray of Murders in the Rue Morgue, which I saw years ago, and for some reason, I barely remember anything about this one. This is by Gordon Hessler, who also did Cry the Banshee. This will have new artwork by Sam Hadley, limited O-card packaging. The English subtitles on each version of the film is there, and heads up that if you buy the Blu-ray one, it is region B locked. A lot of the Hammer stuff has been region free. This one is locked. This does also have 2 cuts of the film. It's got Hessler's original non-linear version, and it's got the director's cut, the AIP cut, new commentary with Chris Alexander, and then it's going to have stage tricks and screen fights, an archival interview with the director, and more supposedly coming. Yeah, you can pre-order this one now. Hammer, have you been checking out much of what they have been putting out?
I haven't picked up any of these like more recent deluxe editions. Just because I'm, they're expensive and they're big, like they take up a lot of space. This would be one that would be tempting, just because I do enjoy a Poe adaptation. And the art, the art on the left hand side there is one that I recall seeing over and over again when I was younger, and so that's definitely intriguing.
Yeah, fun looking release. I would like to see this at some point in 4K. But man, Hammer is starting to just really put out a lot of titles, and it's kind of hard to keep up when things are just so expensive. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that is it for announcements this week, amazingly enough, but only because I ran out of time being able to post everything I had ready to go. So we'll cover more tomorrow night. Thanks, Craig, for filling in. And instead, let's talk about what is coming out next week real quick, in case you forgot. The major blockbuster hit, Avatar Fire and Ash 4K, coming to 4K next week. Speed Racer 4K. Oddly enough, the fact that they announced this as Steelbook only and then announced a standard, I have a little hope that they're willing to respond to people not wanting Steelbooks soon. So I don't know, maybe we'll see. Body Heat 4K from Criterion, one I'm definitely after. You've got the fancy release of Avatar, of course. Then the Da Vinci Code 4K Steelbook. If you're very excited about that, good luck. Fallout Season 2 4K. You've got the Looney Tunes cartoons, the HBO Max show, which I definitely need to pick that up. Arco on 4K, which I need to see. I've been wanting to see that like the last 8 months. I need to see it. The Front 4K with Woody Allen. The Walk coming to 4K. Ginger Snaps 4K from Vestron is going to be shipping soon. Speaking of that, more Lionsgate Limited announcements next week. So if you've been waiting to pre-order Scream 4, you might have an opportunity then. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride coming to 4K if you've missed that so far. Snowpiercer, the complete series, getting a Blu-ray here in the U.S. You got Talk Radio. Nickelodeon, one that I have been very eager to get. The Dark Backward, still one that I am shocked Sony is releasing themselves and that a boutique did not pick up. That is wild. Aesthetics of a Bullet from Radiance. Fresh Kill from Criterion. Night World from Kino. We've got the Alligator 4K Steelbook from Shout, digging more into that well of the same titles over and over. Swashbuckler from 1976, A Man Called Blade from Treasured Films. The Warriors 4K Steelbook, which was kind of quietly announced from Arrow at Walmart and kind of nowhere else. So not sure about that one. Conan the Barbarian 4K Steelbook as well. 90s Nightmares from TerraVision should finally be shipping over this next week. The Yeti from Wellgo USA. I didn't get to see that one, but I love me some Jim Cummings, so I'm interested in that one.
It's pretty good. I did enjoy that one. Yeah.
Nice. Surratt getting a BDR in the U.S. next week. Very depressing to give that type of movie a BDR. We've got Hearts of Darkness coming from Lionsgate Limited. Reminders of Him coming in Blu-ray. The Bring It On 7 movie collection, which oddly enough, that feels like a very Josh collection. I'm sure you got that on pre-order.
Yeah.
The next Something Weird in Kino compilation of the Forbidden Fruit series, The Wages of Sin, next week. The AI doc is coming out next week, which is supposed to be pretty great. The Napa Boys getting a Blu-ray release. Lots of stuff next week. Yellow Bellies from the new Anchor Bay. Think that's all of the big ones. Anything you're absolutely after in this next week's slate?
I mean, I do need to pick up Body Heat. I pre-ordered the Speed Racer Steelbook, and it's telling me it's going to ship in September. So who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Apart from that, not a ton. That's terribly interesting. But those two, I think, are probably the tops for me.
Yeah, Craig is back and asking about the Surratt BDR. Just keep in mind, it is being released in a better format overseas. It won't be a BDR. You can get a 4K. It's a good movie. Did you get to see Surratt?
I didn't. No, I should have, but haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a Josh movie. The music plays a big part in it. The sound is incredible, and it's just weird. It is not at all what you're expecting it to be. But yeah, music. We're about to talk about music. So how is music such a big part of you? Because man, like you said earlier, about half of what you post online is music, half is movies, about 48% is complaining about neighbors. So the half that's about music, was that instilled super young up for you?
Not intentionally, but I do remember when I was a kid, MTV appeared in the cable landscape when I was 3 or 4 years old, and we had our little TV, and I do remember watching MTV in whatever it was, 1983, 84, when I was very, very young, and seeing bands with music videos and the visuals and the music all just really imprinted on me in a very sort of fundamental way. And so it always has been a part of my life. And it's when I was a teenager and I started to go out to live shows because my friends who were into music realized that I could drive a car, like I had a license and they didn't, so I would be basically driving them to shows, and they would just get me in because I was chauffeuring them around. Like that's when everything just it became very clear this was something very important to me.
Right.
And so just getting involved with punk music and rockabilly music and psycho music and surf music and like all these sort of little shows where I could go and be one of 50 people or 100 people, and we're all sort of feeling the same things. It's always been very, very important to me to be a part of that experience. And the shows have gotten bigger these days, but I still I have no interest in going to some big festival with 40,000 people or going to an arena or a stadium like that I could just watch that at home.
Right.
But you put me in a room with 500 people or 100 people or less, and I'm right at home. Like I want to feel like I'm a part of everything. And that's something that's common between film and music to me. Is it's a communal experience.
I would agree.
In the best circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, there's countless shows that I've been to that I have felt probably no more at home anywhere else than in those moments. Being in a sweaty ass room with like 80 people in the desert in a garage show or something is just a crazy part of childhood that I don't ever want to give up. Being a teenager and discovering I just like being here and not caring about anything else in that moment. Not even being able to think about anything else in that moment, because everything is abrasive in like a really positive way, and so you're just kind of immersed in all of it.
I feel alive in those moments in a way that like I don't feel alive in other places. That like this is what it's about. Like there's this bubble around me where this is all that's happening, and everything else falls away. And that's just I need that so much right now, even more so now that I'm older. To feel like my bills are somewhere else. My health insurance being shitty is somewhere else, and I'm just here right now.
Gotta ask, did you ever play music? Is that something that you've ever walked down a path towards that?
Not in front of anyone on purpose. You can see behind me, I've got guitars, my wife's banjo up there. I've got an upright bass in the other room that like has always been a part of from that very early age, when I was like 4 years old, one of the very first things I remember seeing when I was a kid on MTV was the Stray Cats, and that
Nice.
that rockabilly like really imprinted on me at a very young age. It's like it looked so fucking cool, and I just wanted to be that cool my whole life. And so, like, I play that stuff, and I've always sort of fantasized about being in a band, but by the time I was able to commit the kind of time that would take, I always felt like I was too old because I felt like it was a young person's game. I still would like to try it at some point, like, but I'm old enough now that it would just be like, let's play in a bar like every couple of weeks, and then I'll be cool with that. It mostly manifests itself now with karaoke when I have the opportunity, and I just kind of I can lose myself in that, and that's
Nice.
enough for me right now.
What's your go-to karaoke song then?
I'm a big Tom Jones guy or Diana Ross. Like, I like to belt, because if I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna go all out, and you can't really half-ass. You can't half-ass Tom Jones. You can't half-ass Diana Ross. So those are a couple that I really enjoy doing.
So tonight, rock and roll movies. What in your mind makes a rock and roll movie? Because that's going to be the first question for many of these people.
Well, it has to be centered around the music. The music has to be integral to the plot, to the character development, to the story, to the characters. And for me specifically, and I think I might have mentioned this to you early, but like I have a very particular fondness for movies about people starting bands. Like Let's Start a Band is one of my favorite micro genres of film. And that could be kids, it could be older people, but there's just something, and I think part of it has to do with what you were asking earlier, is that like I've never quite made the jump myself. And so there is this wish fulfillment on film that is something that I've always admired, and I wish I could muster for myself. And so that's it. It's so satisfying for me when it's done well.
I agree. A lot of these are going to be that for me. A lot of these are also very different, because I tried to guess a couple that you were going to be picking and stick kind of far away from that. So I've got a couple that are like very, very mainstream, and then a couple deeper cuts. I've got a list of like 18 here, but
my list is similar. Yeah.
Nice.
I tried to whittle it down, and it didn't happen.
It was so tough. We're going to talk about 5 of our favorites in depth. We're going to shout out a bunch of others. I'm sure there's going to be some crossover. I mean, a lot of these are iconic, but I'm going to do my best to, at least those 5, try to stick away from what you're going through. So what is the first one you want to talk about?
So this one is more of a feeling that I had when I watched it the first time. I have not watched it since, and so it's been a while. But Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, from Lou Adler, who is like one of those directors who made 2 incredible films and then never made another movie. Like he did Up in Smoke, which also is on my list, like as an honorable mention, because at the end of that is a battle of bands. So it is Cheech and Chong making a band. But Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains is just, it's so drenched with the spirit of punk music that I grew up with, even though like I was, it's way before my time. I'm not that old, but at the same time, like when I was discovering all these things, like that was one of the films that felt like a world that I wanted to be a part of. And it does feature like Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols and like the Professionals, and all those guys are actual rock and roll legends. And it's one of my favorite films that I bought the super expensive thing from Fun City like the second it went on pre-sale, and I need to watch it immediately.
Great movie. Also, one on my list. This is funny enough, one of the 2 that I just assumed that you were going to be picking. This movie is incredible. Got the imprint Blu-ray the moment that was announced, because
I have that too.
Waiting on this for so long. I was very happy that they put some actually decent extras on that imprint Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fun City came and blew them out of the water, and that release is amazing. This is just an incredible movie. Anybody that's not seen it, check it out. The cast just stupendous performances for everybody. It's great.
And Diane Lane in 2 of the greatest rock and roll movies of all time, just right out of the gate when she was just a fetus, basically. She was so young in Fabulous Things.
Yes, she was. So the next one, very obvious choice, but I really wanted to throw this one there as a very mainstream, very kind of safe pick because last year I got to show my kids. You probably already know what it is saying that School of Rock and Jack Black in a school with a bunch of kids. It's so perfect. The way that he has approached anything music related that's not Tenacious D in a very PG way that is still memorable and fun and exciting and genuinely like invigorating for people wanting to learn music. So much of it is accessible in a way that is really fun and energizing. I just love it. And obviously the cast is really fun here, even though we didn't know much of them before then. The music, genuinely great. All of it is brand new for the film, which I always love when movies like this get new stuff. And they're not, making a biopic or something like that, which I tend to kind of hate a lot of those. School of Rock is a blast. Love this movie.
Yeah, it's that's one that I saw like opening weekend when it came out in theaters. Jack Black was still not much of a name at the time, but it just you feel good at the end of the movie, and that's what a lot of these do for me. Is like there aren't a lot of rock and roll movies that end poorly. It's not to say there aren't some, but like a lot of these end triumphantly, and sometimes I really need that, and that's like probably my number one or two on the list is going to be one that like I really needed at that time and it really delivered.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
I have to highlight that when we get to it. All right, next up.
Let's go. Next up, I'll do I'm not going to do Green Room because we talked about that earlier, and that's not kind of the zone that I'm in, but I will say Heavy Trip. The Finnish,
good choice, yeah.
The Finnish heavy metal horror, not heavy metal comedy film. I saw that at its premiere at South by Southwest, whatever year that was, and I remember because it was a project that was at the short-lived Fantastic Fest film market, the Fantastic Market, titled Impaled Rectum at the time because it's the name of the band. And I remember hearing about it and thinking that sounds exactly like something I would like. And then when it actually played at South by Southwest, I was like, I was right. This is something I would like. It's like the Bad News Bears, but with Finnish metalheads. And it is like a bunch of losers trying to make a band. They run into all kinds of speed bumps, and they eventually get to where they want to go, and they win. Like they don't win the battle of the bands, but they win as people. Like they have achieved their goal in the end. And there's all sorts of ridiculous violence and death and like all kinds of crazy shit happens in between. But in the end, you're cheering for these people in corpse paint and talking about all this terrible heavy metal shit, but you love them all the same. And it's just one of the sweetest movies about death metal that you'll ever see.
How'd you feel about the sequel?
It's less that.
Disappointment is kind of saying less than I felt after watching the sequel. I truly loved the first film and was so ready for the second one to just be something where these guys really owned what they made with that first one, and then it was just a try hard, it felt like.
I mean, for me, it's a Wayne's World to Wayne's World 2 transition. Like Wayne's World itself is like an unabashed, like it's a classic, and then Wayne's World 2 is just another Wayne's World. It suffers from the sequelitis of, well, we'll just throw more money at everything and that'll make it better, right? And it doesn't,
True. So true.
Yeah.
My second one that I'm going to talk about is one that is on the surface, it sounds like a very obvious rock and roll movie, but one of my big ones growing up was Pink Floyd's The Wall. Now, this is a weird movie to say that you love it growing up, because when I say I love it growing up, I love this at like 8 years old. An 8-year-old should not be watching Pink Floyd's The Wall. I truly loved the animation in this movie growing up. I loved the weirdness in the movie, and did not understand a lot of this movie, and then hit 15 and went, oh, that's what I've been watching. My dad was a stoner and drug addict in so many different ways. My dad was is a terrible person, probably. I don't know him anymore. But the foundation of music in my life started early with a few different films, a few different bands. Saw Tom Petty live when I was like 4 years old. That sort of thing sticks with you. And this is a movie that will stick with you. And for lots of people, you don't even know why. This movie is a fever dream of sorts in so many different scenes. I truly count down the moments until we get everybody in a way that we can understand each other from Pink Floyd and maybe get a remastered version of this. I would love to see this reappraised in 2026 and maybe get some like contextual extras and some things to make this a beautiful package, because this movie was such a phenomenon across so many different like countercultures. This deserves a big reemergence. The Wall is crazy. There's a DVD out there you can find. It's great. Don't count on anything coming because Pink Floyd hates each other. So,
I mean, I will admit I have not seen Pink Floyd's The Wall. That being said, the closest association I have to the film is negative, and through no fault of Pink Floyd's. But the one of, and I don't know if it's still the case because I've sort of divorced myself from a lot of this stuff in the years since, but one of the largest racist skinhead organizations in the country is the Confederate Hammerskins, who are based in Dallas, started here in the 90s, early 90s, and they took all of their imagery and all the iconography from that film.
Yep.
And like, I won't say that it soured me on the film because I'm just not a big Pink Floyd fan, but it's also like my closest association to the film is knowing that the Confederate Hammerskins took their iconography from Pink Floyd's, which I recognize as like, it's one of those things where they didn't understand what the movie was doing, but they thought it looked cool, you know? And that happens far too often these days. So people will like, fascist organizations will take iconography from things that are making fun of them and be like, well, we think it's cool, so we're going to just take it now.
Yep.
Which sucks.
The South Dakota faction of the Romper Stomper Deluxe is not a great look. That was a joke. I don't love Pink Floyd either. It's just something about this being ingrained in childhood is so odd. And man, the imagery will stick with you. And there's a lot there. There's a lot of pushing back against fascism. There's a lot of pushing back against the authority. That's a lot of what rock was, especially in the 70s. So yeah, I love the movie. And I need to watch it again. It's been years.
Yeah. Okay. So my next pick was kind of a Hail Mary, but the more I think about it, the more I really love it. And that is Josie and the Pussycats. It does fit the Let's Start a Band mold, although they are already a band when the film starts. They do get sort of pulled into the commercial machine. A lot of this is like the songs are super duper catchy. It's crazy in a way that only films from that time period were crazy, like Josie and the Pussycats, Spice World, like all these sort of Austin Powers, like very over the top films were. And on top of all of that, it's got one of the greatest Parker Posey performances of all time. And that's saying a lot because Parker Posey is amazing in everything she does. She completely understands the assignment in Josie and the Pussycats, and I love her for that, and I love that about the film, and that makes it just perfect for me because it's ridiculous and hilarious and stupid and smart, and she's great. And like, I should not love that film. It's for a teenage girl, but I cannot help like enjoying every minute of it.
I have to change the last one I was going to talk about because this was on the list. I adore this movie. This came at a really fun time in life. I was literally like finally discovering irony and the way
Mhm.
to approach satire that wasn't just like Monty Python, like very earnestly done camp, essentially.
Yeah.
And this movie delivers on every goddamn level. I adore this film. The performances are crazy. People in this movie are obnoxious, and then there's Parker Posey, who is everything.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. It's just perfect. Um, so I'm gonna replace that right now with one that barely missed out on my five, and I'm gonna replace that with somebody that um, great director of this film, and he directed a couple other things that you've seen. But I was about, I think I was like 9 or 10 when this came out, and Tom Hanks directed That Thing You Do, and That Thing You Do is a movie that if you've never seen it, it feels like the beginning of the Beatles ish. It's
Mhm.
people getting very small waves of support that turn into larger waves of support that turn into oh my god fandom, and it's directed kind of wonderfully. It's got some really incredible, very like centering performances from somebody like Giovanni Ribisi, who
Mhm.
had not done a ton up to that point. The music is great. Again, the constant overuse of the Oneaters joke is hilarious. I This is one of those movies where you watch and you're like, this just feels like you said earlier, a world I want to live in. Just put me in this world for a month, and I guarantee it would feel wholesome and fun and interesting. And not being alive in the 60s and 70s, being able to feel a very early Beatles sort of feeling from some of this was just a fun world to live in. Uh, Again, very well made. Tom Hanks didn't direct a lot, but when he did, most of them were pretty great. This is one of the best. I love this movie. Check out That Thing You Do. This is another one. I wish we would get another updated release. It has not
Yeah.
had a lot of attention throughout the years, and it was not hailed as a wonderful movie by most, but it's pretty great.
Yeah. That's a great, and this was on my honorable mentions list, but one that occupies a similar space in my brain is The Commitments. The Commitments is like
Mhm.
an incredible film that I haven't watched enough, but when I do watch it, it always reminds me of how great it is.
Yeah.
Because it is another one of those sort of, I don't want to say rags to riches, but sort of like grassroots. We want to be a soul band. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this thing, and it feels like a similar sort of story between the two, even though the Commitments don't reach the same apex as
Right.
the Wonders. But it's a similar sort of time frame, I think, at least,
Mhm.
that those films are working in.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
So my next actual film will be Sing Street. So did I just take
No,
another one of yours?
no, not at all.
Okay, good.
I feel quite ashamed. I've not seen any of his films, and I know he's got one that's doing a festival circuits or early screenings or
I
something right
think
now.
it just premiered at South by this year.
Yeah,
Um,
so this is getting hammered into me that like, hey, I'm an idiot and I've not seen any of his stuff. So,
I have not seen any of his other films. From what I understand,
ooh,
they are not the same as Sing Street. Uh, in terms of what makes me love Sing Street. So,
interesting.
sort quick story about this. In 2016, I had just married my wife and had planned on going on our honeymoon. We were going to India, and it was a big expense that we were putting out. And so I did not have a ton of money. And so laying down all of this cash to go on this trip was really stressful for me. And I was like kind of having anxiety attacks every day leading up to it. And I kind of mentioned this to a friend, and they're like, you just need to go relax. You need to go watch something or do something that's going to calm you down. And so Sing Street was playing at the theater up the street, and I went and saw it by myself on a Sunday afternoon because I needed to like feel good for 5 minutes. That's all I needed. And I walked into the theater like ready to cry, and walked out ready to cry for a completely different reason, because it is everything I want a movie like this to be. It's kids who don't know what to do with themselves, finding something that makes them feel good, that they are good at, working at it really hard, and achieving a success that they would not have achieved in any other avenue in any other avenue of their life. And it's It's heartfelt. It's sweet. I showed it to my wife. She cried. I showed it to my son. He cried. The music is incredible. It's the soundtrack is a combination between the original songs that Carney wrote for the film, and then also the actual 80s songs that inspired them. So you can kind of see like, oh, well, this is his song that's like the Duran Duran. This is his song that's like The Cure. This is his song that's like this. And like in a lot of ways, like the original songs are as good or better than some of the songs that they were inspired by. There's a sort of triumphant moment at the end of the film where they're like performing at like the school's social dance, where they perform the song and it goes over well, and they have this like rebelling against authority moment that happens in the same event, and it's just like everything about it is wonderful and works for me, and I could watch it every day. It's just one of the greatest films of the last 20 years, and I like I said, I could not speak for any of these other films, but this one is one that really really works for me.
Nice. I mean, from everything I've heard, everybody that loves at least one of his movies seem to love all of them. Once is one that I've been meaning to see as well, and then
Mhm.
this new one is supposedly pretty good. I need to just be able to see all three of them. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sing Street looks great. Okay, two more for me. They're both kind of obvious picks, but they needed to be on here. I referenced this one earlier, so I'm not even gonna play around with what the reveal is. This is Spinal Tap is a big deal to me. Managed to shape a lot of humor when I was growing up. This goes to 11 is like the silliest joke in the world to an 11-year-old.
Mhm.
That was on purpose. The ways that I have grown with the movie is very interesting, and watching a legacy sequel come out did not feel great in the last couple of years. I
Yeah.
gotta be honest. That being said, just recently was on an episode of One Track Mind with Ryan Luis Rodriguez to talk about the commentary on the disc, and we, obviously we talk about commentaries with Spinal Tap. You're thinking about the commentary where everybody's in character, and it's a great commentary. But after everything that happened with Rob Reiner this year, we actually covered the other commentary, and listening to the amount of care that this takes to do something that is so meticulously planned, so wonderfully crafted by a director that chose every single thing, not just with intention, but like seeing 3 steps ahead to what a joke is going to pay off as later in the film. Or man, if we go out on the streets of Koreatown in LA and try to bribe people into the show, we can very cheaply make it look like we're playing films over in Asia or playing shows over in Asia. And that sort of thing, like listening to him lament about the troubles with that is so interesting when it's about a mockumentary. Like they could have done so many different things. Everybody probably still would have loved it with the writing
Yeah.
that they had, but just everything was done with so much care. The jokes in this are amazing and sort of timeless, and then you get the sequel and it's nowhere near the same. I like it fine. It's okay. I get what they were going for, but God, the original film is unimpeachable, just amazingly made. And I talking about bands with original music, I mean, Spinal Tap actually played tons of fucking shows, and
Yeah.
you could play their stuff in Guitar Hero growing up, and like this is legendary. Spinal Tap is so much of just the definition of rock. I adore this movie. If you've somehow never seen it, which it looks like somebody in the comments has not, please go see this as Spinal Tap the best way you can. The 4K from Criterion looks incredible.
Yeah. It's one of the best films ever made. It basically invented the mockumentary format. And I'm with you. I went and saw it. I was actually assigned to review the sequel, and so there wasn't a press screening, so I went and bought a ticket to go see it at the theater near me. Was the only one in the room when I bought my ticket, and walked out and told my editor, I have nothing to say about this. Like, it's not even that it was like objectively bad. It's just like there's nothing here. It felt so flat. But I mean, everything's going to feel flat after the original film. It's perfect. It's a perfect film. All the jokes are perfect. And I even love like a lot of the press that they did to promote the new film as in character. Like they were better in character in the interviews on, talk shows than they were in the actual release. So you know, sometimes you just can't fuck with greatness. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And a couple of the running gags were okay, but
Mhm.
it's not like critically, it's not something that you can hang a hat on a couple silly
Yeah.
running gags. Like this is Spinal Tap is so much more than silly running, and not that it didn't have them. I mean, a drummer exploding constantly in This Is Spinal
Mhm.
Tap is the go-to running gag, but it was so much more than that. I mean,
Yeah.
hearing Rob Reiner talking about deleted scenes, and that's why these guys have like STD sores all over their mouth and shit like that is so freaking funny to hear about what they had planned and all these other things. Anyways, it's go listen to that commentary. I know everybody runs to the in character commentary, but Rob Reiner, I mean, rest in peace to one of the greatest, like literally probably one of the greatest director's runs we'll ever see. So
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
all
so
right.
my final film is a film that has not yet been upgraded to HD, but will be soon. I am assured of, and that is Linda, Linda, Linda from Japan. What was that? 2006 or so. So if you haven't seen Linda, 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 which is very possible because it's only been on DVD, that's long out of print, and it had a brief theatrical run as a reprisal earlier last year. It's about a trio of Japanese schoolgirls who are trying to put together a band for their talent show for their school, and they don't have a singer, so they invite the Korean exchange student to sing for them. And so the four of them have to overcome cultural differences and figure out a way to be a band and figure out how to be friends and figure out how to overcome the usual teenage bullshit that comes with all of that. And it's got great fucking music. It's one of the best films of the last 25 years. Again, one of the greatest rock and roll movies ever, even though the rock and roll takes up relatively small amount of time. It is integral to the plot and integral to the story, and the success at the end, the triumphant ending that I talked about earlier, is incredibly satisfying, even though spoiler, it's in front of like half a dozen people. It doesn't matter at that point because you're so invested in these characters who are perfect. It's got Bae Doona, who is famously in Snowpiercer and a bunch of other stuff. Like, she is one of the biggest Korean actresses of the last 20 years. The Host, she's one of the stars of The Host, which is one of the greatest films ever. And it introduced me to the music of the band that they chose to cover, because this act that they're putting together, they had to decide the characters had to decide what songs to place. They chose a Japanese punk band called the Blue Hearts, who are just an absolutely incredible band that then sent me down a wormhole to find all the Blue Heart stuff that I possibly could. They actually played the songs in the film, and so there's an EP of the actors playing the music from the movie that's available digitally, I think, and on CD. I mean, you can find it if you want to. It's on YouTube. But it's another one of those films like Sing Street where I can show it to anybody and they may not kind of know where it's going at the beginning, but by the end you're just like, you're cheering in your seat because these girls really need this win, and the way it comes to pass is just so incredibly satisfying, and it's relatable in a way that's hard to express without having actually experienced it.
I need to see this. This is not the one I was expecting.
Okay, good.
Wow. I desperately need to see this. Yeah. This sounds freaking great. Love The Host, and that in itself was exciting. So, yeah, somebody release this, please. All right. Final point for me here. I've gone back and forth because now I kind of want to say the one that I thought you were going to say, but I'll leave that till after because I'm sure we're going to talk about the Ramones at least a little bit. Let's say this one then. It was mentioned earlier, but just to make it personal again, sort of like Pink Floyd's The Wall, I was raised in Wayne's World. And this movie means a hell of a lot to me. It made me think that licorice was the best thing in the world for about a year and a half. It made me really want Pizza Hut for about a year and a half. It made me think that I needed to own a gun rack, even though I hate guns. So much about this movie is just hilarious and works across all kinds of different generations. The music, obviously, integral to the plot in so many different ways. But the biggest thing is like, God, did this movie make me love Queen? The Bohemian Rhapsody scene in itself is so legendary that just head bobbing in a car, we all know what that headbanging is. Like you know specifically what it's from. You don't have to doubt that. The movie is hilarious. The writing is great. And then after all of that, I realize it's fucking Penelope Spheris that directed this, who is behind another one of the greatest rock and roll films of all time, Decline, that I also love, that could have been like one of these top 5 because it's a fucking perfect doc. But it makes so much sense. Like she's so ingrained with the music at heart, and a film that feels so musical in every scene. Even the scenes that aren't about the music are about the music in this movie. It's written perfectly. It is so tight, which makes the sequel feel weird, I know, to a lot of people. But like we said earlier, it is sort of just Wayne's World again, which isn't a bad thing. I think Wayne's World 2 is still overhated, but it's not the first one, and this movie's great. Dana Carvey and Mike Myers are perfect in this. Love that it started as an SNL skit. I mean, it's Wayne's World. We all know it. We all have talked about it. Yeah, that's it. Your mic is not working. There you go.
You got me?
Yep.
Okay. So Wayne's World was the first film that I saw in theaters twice. What was it, 1992? So I would have been 12.
Yeah.
It's the first film that I saw in a theater, and then had my mom drive me back to the theater again because I wanted to see it again.
Awesome.
It is. I know all the words. I could recite the film from front to back. I had the biggest crush on Tia Carrere for years and years and years. So much so that I saw Jury Duty twice in theaters because she was the lead in that. Like, and it is a perfect film. So I have no complaints about including Wayne's World in this. It is an absolutely incredible film, and one of my favorite rock and roll movies of all time. And you're right. Like the music plays a huge part in it. Even when the movie's not playing music, it's about the music because these characters are all about the music.
Yep.
You know.
Penelope's other movies even feel punk. Like, Dudes feels punk. The Boys Next Door, like everything is just something about it is subversive. Fuck the system. Everything that you want it to be. Just like a bunch of these movies. I mean, we could have named so many other movies. Other things that I had: Detroit Rock City, another one that I loved growing up. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. We're done with biopics because that is a perfect movie. Rocky Horror Picture Show could have been a really obvious choice here. Phantom of Paradise, one of my favorites. We've got Baby Driver. I really like from Edgar Wright, and I feel like a lot of us don't give that the credit that it should still be due because it's Edgar Wright, and so it's hard. Tommy, another big one that I was raised on that was kind of huge for me. Modern one that we don't talk about with Sandler, The Wedding Singer, is kind of amazing, and it's a really great rock and roll movie at the heart of it. Decline, again, probably should have been one of mine. One might be a little out of left field for some people. Inside the Llewellyn Davis. Love that movie, and it is a rock and roll story at heart, but it is a little more Americana, and I get that. I got a few more. Purple Rain is obvious. Yeah.
I mean, the Decline movies are definitely up there for me. I first saw the Decline Part 2, The Metal Years. That was the first one I saw because it was my local video store had a VHS copy that I just bought off of them. And so I watched that a bunch of times before I actually saw the first film because it was harder to find. Like I didn't find it until like eBay showed up and I could buy a tape off of eBay.
Nice.
So that was one. Suburbia, similar, another Penelope Spheris film. Dudes, definitely a punk movie. I mean, you've got punk bands and punk. You've got Leaving in there also. What else do I have on my list? We Are the Best, which is the Finnish punk movie about like a bunch of like teenagers, preteens starting a band. Another like Let's Start a Band movie that is really, really great, put out by Magnet years ago, which kind of fell into a hole. Like it was released and people loved it, and then no one really talked about it. Someone just mentioned Airheads. I have Airheads on my list. It's right here. Another punk connection with that is they play like punk songs in the movie. They when they're at the end of the film, when they do Degenerated, that's a punk cover that they're doing in the prison at the end of the film. I have Deathgasm in here, which is
good movie.
You know, a lot of fun. Again, more death metal, sort of dorks trying to start a band, looking like idiots in front of everybody else, but because that's just who they are. So that's really great. I think that's all the ones I have on my list officially, but I know you wanted to talk about Rock and Roll High School, so let's talk about Rock and Roll High School.
First of all, you love the Ramones. Rock and Roll High School, good movie. Clearly, you probably have different feelings that I don't know about. How do you feel about the movie overall?
It's great. It's one of the best movies ever made. Every minute of it is perfect and completely illogical and stupid, but it's never wrong. Everything about it is right in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a blast. I know a lot of people have sort of maybe like taken it for granted is a good way to say that. Like it's always going to be there, and in a way that's true. But for a lot of people, I feel like they just forget it exists, and so many people have just never seen it because of that. It's great. The Ramones are punk. Like they are the original punk. It is such a foundation for so many of us that grew up on all this. Yeah, see Rock and Roll High School, please. It is classic. It is amazing. Very well made. It's fun.
I mean, if you like those Roger Corman movies from the 70s and 80s, like it's in that same vein. It is a ridiculous comedy. There's a giant person in a mouse costume. There's an exploding high school which everyone loves. There's the Ramones. Dee Dee performs a song getting soaked by a shower like in someone's bedroom. Everything about the movie is incredible. Don't watch the sequel. It's worse than Wayne's World 2. But Rock and Roll High School is a perfect film for people who love the Ramones because it is as silly as they were. Like it's exactly the vibe that band requires and deserves. Hardcore Logo, I would also mention, another Canadian punk movie from the early 90s. Also pretty fun, but a little more, I won't say serious, but more dystopic a little bit, just because it's, at the time that Rock and Roll High School came out, punk was still relatively new. It was shot in 79 and 80. And so they weren't huge yet. But there had been time for punks to get more disillusioned by the time Hardcore Logo came out. So that film's a little bit sadder, but still fun. It's a lot of fun.
Two more that the final two I had on my list. Almost Famous is obvious choice for this, of course. But really want to shout out the director's cut. It is definitely a better movie than the theatrical cut. It is really well acted, of course. Very trope filled when you watch it nowadays. If it's your first time watching it, it probably doesn't feel as revolutionary as it did at the time.
Right.
And then the other one, which I feel like not a lot of, kind of like Rock and Roll High School, a lot of people just forget and just kind of assume that it's always going to be there. Streets of Fire, really, really great movie. Some just amazing music in that movie. Really well acted. The shots chosen in that film, kind of legendary. Some great iconic scenes. See that one.
That would have been that was the last one I was going to mention, was Streets of Fire, because it is like, I hadn't seen it until, I mean, it's been in the last decade, but I was old in the last decade too. So I hadn't seen it till deep into my late 30s. And then I kind of was kicking myself for not having seen it earlier, because I wasted 35 years of my life not having seen Streets of Fire. And then I was like, okay, I have to watch this. Like, what else is going on? Like, there were screenings that were booked. So I was like, I'm going to go see it in the theater. And I showed my son and I showed my wife, and I do play those opening and closing songs all the time. I went out and bought the record. It's one of those films where it is like absurdly over the top. It's complete melodrama, but it's done in such a way that like you're along for the ride. The music is incredible. The bands are incredible. Willem Dafoe's like patent leather hip waders are incredible. Like everything is perfect about that movie. I could watch it again every day and be happy.
I agree. Yeah, it's been a fun topic. This was a great choice. Not surprised that we ended up talking about music in some way. I kind of assumed that we would at some point. This has been just a blast. Everything I wanted to be. Glad you came on. Any recent releases that you want to highlight, or have anybody go to a recent article on Screen Anarchy?
You can. A lot of the reviews that I wrote for South by Southwest are popping up because the films are coming out. So like Over Your Dead Body and Hokum and things like that are starting to release. There's a film called Odyssey from last year that was very good. So if you go to Screen Odyssey or Screen Anarchy, on the right-hand side, there is a list of editors. You can just click my name and you'll find all the stuff that I've written. And so,
or just click the link I put in the description, which is
there
that
you go. Even faster. As far as home video releases, I mentioned earlier, I've got like half a dozen floating in the ether. So we'll see when those get announced, hopefully soon.
Cannot wait. Reminder to everybody, tomorrow night I'll be live again with Craig from Deaf Crocodile covering last week's announcements. We will cover a lot of those. But until then, next week we've got the Vinegar Syndrome sale, so we're going to be up late getting all of the announcements that come out next Thursday. As long as I'm allowed to be live, I will be live again. Josh, thanks again, and we got to have you back at some point.
I'm all about it. Anytime.
Amazing. Well, and considering you went 3 hours and 15 minutes, I guess we broke you in decently.
I'm a pro.
All right. On that note, thanks, y'all, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.